morning.
Or good afternoon, depending on where you are. So we have another miracle lineup today, male and virtual. So I guess I can give you a little bit of a rundown of what's coming up. So starting at 10 o'clock, coming up now, we have Beyond the Body with Calico. And 10:45, we have Access Miracles with Dan and Marie. And we got Come Into the Light with Anne, 11:30, Song of Prayer with Emily at 12:15, and The Last Step with Jeffrey at 1 o'clock. So stay tuned in, and
we're chock full of special guests today, so stay tuned. We won't tell you who they are. We're going to let our hosts introduce them all, and we've also got a concert for you today. So stay tuned.
Big lineup.
We'll take it over to Calico now with Beyond the Body.
I am just a little runaway, 47 years and still I'm on the run. Afraid of love, I'm keeping God at bay. Spending days in a nightmare ain't much fun. I am just a little runaway, for my misery always blaming someone else. I'm really into judgment and delay, but only hurting me and I and myself.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Beyond the Body. And I just love that intro. Thank you so much, Frank, for that music. It just makes me smile every time I hear it. Okay, well, we've had quite an interesting week since the last program, or a couple of weeks. And this is probably one of the more spontaneous programs I've ever done. Lila and I had been joining all week over Sickness is a Decision, Lesson 136 in the Course in Miracles, Sickness is a Decision. And so whenever I set anything up, that's what I get an opportunity to experience. So the past couple of weeks have really been unraveling this whole concept of sickness as a decision. And Jenny, my guest today, my handholder, she has been present to many of my unravelings. It started in Tabula Rasa when I first met you. I think that was the first time we had met in person. And she was present. She was the first person, actually prior to or since, that I was joining with her about something that was coming up. And she said, "Can I touch your tumor?" And at the time, no one but hospice people had touched it. And it was kind of like, well, okay. And she put her hand on my belly. I won't forget it. I can still see us. We're there right now.
Yeah, I remember.
I know. And she said, "It feels like a baby." And I just burst into tears. I didn't realize the amount of shame that I was holding on to. And you saw me as innocent. You were the first, that was the biggest experience is this woman is holding me as innocent. She's a mighty companion. And she's been with David for 12 years and has done her own work, I'm clear. And so now she can be in the presence of people exploring their shame and not dive into it with them, just holding the innocence. So welcome, Jenny.
Thank you. Thank you,
Welcome
Calico.
to our little audience here.
Beyond the Body. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
she also, just to give you a little more of who Jenny is, she has compiled a book for David and Living Miracles that will be coming out in February of 2019. This Moment is Your Miracle. And I had this experience this week. She came to La Casa and was staying there. And again, more, I like to say, it's like eggs hitting the pavement for me, of just areas of darkness that I didn't realize I was holding on to came up when Jenny came, and we were exploring some topics. And so she's been sharing a lot about This Moment Is Your Miracle and reading the healing section from it, which I just have to say is completely profound and so accurate. There's so many misunderstandings of healing. And I think the clarity in this book is profound.
Yeah. One of the major things in this book, and that is like a response to the major error in the world around healing, is that healing is of the mind. Healing is always mental, and it's distorted in the world because it's always the focus on the form, fixing the form, which is actually perpetuating the error. It perpetuates the belief that you are the body, that the world is your home, and all of that. It's the wrong focus, basically. So healing is to redirect the focus.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, I'll just pull this back because, again, this started with Greg Donner's in the audience, Jenny's beloved, all our beloveds. He's my husband too. And he was at the very first month that I was at the monastery, and it was a huge awakening for me. And a piece of that was, and I remember it was the only time I think I really even talked to David, and he called, and he was on a phone, and there was Michael was there, and he was saying, well, if there's anything you need to do in form, you might want to explore that. And for me, the good news, and I really am starting to see this more and more as such a gift. I was put in hospice. They gave up on me. The doctor said, nothing we can do. We went in, we did as much as we could. You're on your own, and when you feel bad enough, enter hospice. And I told David, I said, that's the good news. I don't have to explore that avenue of form any longer because there was nothing to explore. They said, it's everywhere. We can track it and tell you where it's going to, which didn't seem like a good idea. And this is the mind. It has to be the mind. And so I knew at that point there was nowhere else to go.
You know what? I may have a surprise for you, but I think that's actually the first time I met you. It was in 2012 in New Mexico in a course group.
You were in that court when David came through?
When Greg and I came through.
Oh, I remember that.
I was always surprised to hear that you were in hospice in 2012 because that was the year.
It was right after that I went into hospice. It was not too long. Oh my God, I remember that. Oh, that's...
Yeah. So that's our first encounter, really. But then
I definitely,
several years
you sat over here on a couch. I was here. Yeah. I remember the light was coming in and hitting you both in your face. I can see it like it was right there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I'm in a cascading miracle. That's all I can say. It's like this moment is your miracle, and it cascades if you allow it. And I just want to share what happened this week because Lila, and I don't know if she's on the program yet, but Lila and I were planning on going on this program together. And yesterday, there were so many things happening. The healing was massive this past week. And it came up when we were looking at really reaching out to the non-dual community as far as exploring who out there is waking up and needs some support, needs some mighty companions to join with. And at that moment, I had a loop come through, and it was a man in that group that you guys came to. There was a man in that group, and there's a lot of non-dual people in Santa Fe. They're course students and they're non-dual. And he really believed in the Pleiades. And it's not the UFO thing that I had a problem with, but he was waiting for them to save us, as many are. And I was just coming into this, I'm kind of screwed if I can't look at my mind. And so I was really pushing the issue of, I have to go into this cancer thing and not wait for someone else to save me, because clearly no one's going to be there. And so we were talking about in an expression session this week, and his face came up, and I just shared saying, I got real aggressive with him at one point. He also was a Vietnam vet, dealing with, quote unquote, Agent Orange exposure that created cancer. So he had cancer, and I got really pissy with him. I don't know if I can say that on air. I was really angry. And it was me being angry at myself of not knowing how to do this, how to go deeper with this. And the frustration level I projected out onto him. So Peter, if you're watching this, I love you, man. And what came from there, so that was just the beginning. That was just the scraping of the eggshell a little bit. What really threw it down was, I asked Jenny, she was staying at La Casa, and I asked to join with her, and she couldn't do it immediately. And so she came in at the end of the day and said, let's join. And there was nothing up, and I've known not to dig for it. It's not something you go digging for. And so we had a pleasant conversation, and then as she was getting up to leave, we went to hug each other, and all she said was, oh, I see you as this sweet little 5-year-old. That's all she said, and we hugged. And all I said was, oh my God, what the hell did you just say? Or something to that fact, because it was clearly there were things rising very quickly, and we didn't talk about it then. In fact, we're just now really kind of joining on this. It took me on this journey into my life, and it was, at 5 years old, I remember the decision to be sick. And I just need to say, sickness is, I made decisions for disaster, I made decisions for foreclosure, I made decisions for angry projections, failed relationships. I mean, I made a lot of decisions. None of them were happy, none of them led to any kind of love, but those were decisions. So in the course, when it says, I made a decision to be sick, you fill in your version of sickness, because they all look different, but the last card I pulled was cancer. And when I was 5, my father was a raging alcoholic. My mother was a sick, codependent, anorexic. And I got early on, oh man, if I'm looking for love, it's not going to be in either one of those venues. And so my brother was the one that I made the idol for my love. He was my savior and protector, and you know, he was my mighty companion throughout until Vietnam. And I remember distinctly, we were all watching TV one day. The lottery was in place in the States, and they were pulling birthdays and positions of whether or not you were going to Nam. And we were all sitting around watching, and they pulled my brother's birthday, and they pulled number 1, and he was going to Vietnam. And I fell apart. But my mom went into the kitchen, my brother went into his room, and my father turned the channel. And that was the beginning, and I was getting angry at Nam. So I was out protesting the war while my brother went over and fought the war. And it was a huge split in our ability to love each other. And that just continued to grow throughout life. There were lots of other circumstances, but that was the beginning. And it was this decision as this innocent 5-year-old to have a brother that I loved, that I could reflect my love on, until it couldn't be reflected anymore.
Yeah.
And so this is it.
Yeah, right. And what is beautiful, I can see too, that probably at that point you made a decision too to transcend the belief in personal love, and that you would be loved beyond that, although at that time it was too hard to see that.
That's interesting.
The healing journey, you know, is all about transcending that personal
Yeah, this
love.
is new. I'll have to sit with this. Yeah. Yeah, because it definitely was that feeling of there's a bigger love. Huh. Yeah. Which is what we're all looking for. And that's what the whole nature of this program is.
Yeah. When you invited me and I was thinking of this and the theme of sickness and going beyond the body, and what came to me is, you know, the simple way that I see to heal is to actually just, how do I feel now? Or what am I thinking now? Go in every moment and see what is the decision. Do I decide for sickness or for healing in this moment, you know, then we are rid of all the, you know, intricacies and, okay, when did I meet somebody who had the flu, or what did I do to get this cancer? Was it on the timeline? You know, no, it's actually what do I think right now, you know? And then we don't look to the form, the spirit, and the answer doesn't look to the form of things, you know.
Form is only on the timeline.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I had a Facebook Live this week, and I talked about pain, because one of my awarenesses is, if I'm in this moment right now, pain is impossible. It's only projected from the past to the future, and that fear, that back and forth. Oh my God, it's been painful, it's going to be painful. But if you can focus on this moment, and for me, it's listening to the birds. I mean, I can go into immediate moment by, oh, can you hear the birds?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, stay there. I can hear them right now.
Yeah.
And it brings it very present. And you're right, form is on the timeline.
Yeah.
And this moment is your miracle. And we were talking this morning, I'm hoping there may be a program that comes on where Jenny or somebody reads sections of this book. That just came up this morning. But it is the way that you have put it into words. There's so much clarity with it. I don't know if you have anything prepared. I know I'm going to put you on the spot here. Do you have anything from the healing section that you read? Because it was so profound. And I think it might be helpful for others.
There was some that came to my mind.
Okay, great.
Well, I can read a couple of shorter pieces. Or maybe, I have 2 or 3. We have the metaphysics behind sickness, which we touched on, but it's like this. Because we believe we are pulled away from God and separated from our home in heaven, we believe that there could be some punishment or retribution, some price to pay. This fear of retribution from God is unconscious. Because of this, and being aware of the truth that I can be hurt by nothing but my thoughts, the mind is actually afraid of healing. And this is why it makes itself sick. It's saying, this body is real, it is my identity. It strengthens our belief in the body's identity rather than the mind.
And I'm not innocent.
Right.
And I'm not innocent.
That's the core.
So I need to be punished.
Yeah.
It's sick.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, it's such a dysfunctional way of looking at everything.
Yeah. And then it's the evidence when the body gets sick. It's like, okay, God,
Proof.
I'm
bad.
Yeah. And I am separate from God, and God's reality is not real. This sick reality is real because the body is the proof, you know? That's where it goes. And then the problem, why? Because many people say, why don't I get healed? Why doesn't healing come? I prayed for years, you know?
It's a hornet's nest.
Yeah. But I got the answer here. We put it in the book.
Share.
So I'll read it. Let's take a look at a scenario which could have a transcending nature for you if you yearn for healing. So a patient typically goes to a doctor or a therapist because he wants a magical shift. He wants a better life in form. He wants a doctor to magically take away his problem, his difficulties, his pain, and his symptoms. And herein lies the problem. Getting a better life in form is just a temporary shift. It can never be lasting. And the true healer, the Holy Spirit, is the real therapist and the doctor. However, the patient thinks twice about going to this doctor, to the Holy Spirit's healing, because the Holy Spirit requires a complete shift.
Yes.
It means that the patient would have his self-concept completely dismantled in his entire world. And he might think, I didn't ask you to take my life away. I asked you to make it better. Give me a better life. Give me a better illusion instead of the dismantling.
Oh my God.
Because of the fear of loss of his life as he knows it, the patient would not trust the Holy Spirit. So the sickness and the temporary fixes churn on and on.
I hope you got this. I hope you got this. This is profound, because this is, and I must say, I went through terror. I mean, I was in hospice. How much more terror can you go through? I tell you, the decision to give up my life, that was terrifying. There was some ease in hospice, you know. They would take care of everything for you. They were just going to transition you out. Bye-bye. Love you.
Yeah.
And then I made a decision. Okay, I'm going to change everything. I am going to literally give up what I think brings me pleasure. And coming into community, and I had to face some really horrible, I mean, what I was holding is this, I can't do this. You know, I gave up my dogs. They were my life. But the reality was I had to be willing to turn it all over. All of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what she's saying here. And this goes with anyone that wants to make any change in their life, whether they want a happier relationship or more money, or, I mean, fill in the blank of your disease, your disease.
And when you share that, I just want to say how simple it is in a way, because it is the Holy Spirit's answer is in the moment, you know. It's now we decide. Yeah. It's in the moment. It's now we heal. It's not the big, you know, timeline thing that is going to take time.
And you know, it's interesting. I would love to have had that concept. I mean, I really feel like I'm just coming into that now. When I was shifting my life, you know, and getting rid of all those favorite things, you know, because I was pulling on the past. Oh my God, they've made me so happy, and that means I'm not going to have happiness in the future. So I was all in the timeline in my process of giving it all over to Holy Spirit. Right. And I feel like, you know, maybe I could have, if I were holding that, it would have been a different experience of letting go.
It's the tricky belief in sacrifice.
It's a tricky belief in sacrifice.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's also part of the healing to face.
Yes. Yeah. Sacrifice is impossible unless it's on the timeline. It keeps coming back to this timeline thing.
Yeah.
Because we weren't taught how to live in the moment.
Right.
It was always future. Yeah. I mean, I think we even talked about this. In my family, we're waiting for another shoe to drop, which is always future-based. I mean, you know, right now we're okay, but there's going to be another shoe dropping at some point in the future. So it's like I just learned how to think on that timeline like that. So I went from one disaster to another, to another, to another. And I must say, this is relatively recent that I'm really kind of coming into this. Where are you? What are you thinking right now? Where are you right now?
Right. Yeah. And that's the key.
Wow.
That's the key. Because if there's any little darkness in there, doubt thoughts, I think it's often like self-punishment and self-doubt and unworthiness.
Yeah.
Those kind of thoughts running. And if that's there, that is actually the choice for sickness. So in that moment, to just be open to, because it's not even our job to change. It's just our job to be willing to change, and then invite the light, invite the Spirit.
And Holy Spirit can only be here in this moment.
Yeah.
Because Holy Spirit isn't on a timeline.
Can only be experienced now.
Right now.
Yeah,
oh man.
The easiest thing in the world, right? It is when we remember it. Yeah.
And I just need to say, and find yourself some mighty companions somewhere that can hold this for you when you can't. Because that is, and I offer you the 30-day program. There's a Facebook group that I'm helping with moderating, and there are a bunch of mighty companions that are on this group that will hold that space. You can type in your projections of the future, fear of the past, fear of the future, and there will be mighty companions that can join you in bringing you back into the moment, because it is a skill, and I think you can only learn it from others that have gone before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and readiness too in the mind to
right.
to take that in, and that's, we can cultivate our own readiness and willingness, you know, just by
Right.
practicing this, seeing in the moment what is there. Yeah, it's beautiful.
I
So beautiful
love
to be here with
you.
you. I love you too.
Mm. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You know, I just need to say that Mighty Companions look very different. None of them look the same. And I was sharing this before, but I feel the need to say this right now. I have many Mighty Companions, and some of them are like Jenny, that just felt like warm butter. You know, it's like you just kind of gooey and can sink right into it. And then there are other Mighty Companions that I find myself projecting something on. And they're equally as wonderful. And they're equally my gifts. And it's just for me to let go of projection, you know, and accept the atonement for myself and see them as my Mighty Companion, just like Jenny. And then they turn into warm butter too. And it's like, and then we all just kind of melt and ooze together, and it's a beautiful thing. I mean, this process called A Course in Miracles is something to be experienced. And I just say, if you've been studying it for a long time, I really offer you the opportunity to jump. Just jump in. You know, the water's great. And it is an experience that you've got to feel. You can't study it. Study's on the timeline. You're still waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, we've got just a few minutes left, and I think just because, oh man, I've been rereading the Manual for Teachers, man. David has an audio that's just fabulous. I go to sleep listening to it at night, and I don't know if I want to read that. Anyway, I highly recommend you read that, but I think I'm going to just end this.
Do you want to say what it was?
The Manual for Teachers, well, it's a shift in perception. Right. It's the section on healing, the Manual for Teachers. Yeah, I didn't mention that. It's the only one to read if you're going to be reading any of them. But David has actually done audios of all of them, and I invite you to go to YouTube, David Hoffmeister, Manual for Teachers, and they'll all pop up. Or ACIM, and you can find them there. And the Manual for Teachers is profound. And if you've been studying A Course in Miracles for a while, I highly recommend it's time to move into the experiential, and that's where the Manual for Teachers really takes us. And just to end this, gear up the outro, because I just want to talk a little bit about communion, because it's all about communion, and communion is hearing the voice of God, and that's really the gift that we're all here for. And Jenny could hear the voice for God when I couldn't, and she was able to share that as a mighty companion to me when I needed it, and continues to, from what I can see. So this is from the text, chapter 19. Communion is another kind of completion, which goes beyond guilt, because it goes beyond the body. And so with that, I thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're my gift from God. And until next 2 weeks, folks, bye. Have a great moment.
Thank you. I love you.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Just a tiny mad idea at which the Son of God remembered not to laugh. We built an altar made of hate and fear. We let the ego live on our behalf.
Okay, well. Thanks, Calico. Thanks, Jenny. That was beautiful. Yeah, I love that. Just healing is like a moment-to-moment decision to join in the miracle. Yeah, that's so beautiful. Yeah, because Calico's been sharing a lot about the like the healing module that's going to be coming up with the doorway, and it's been really inspiring. And I just like that point of like, when we are in extension, like moment to moment with Spirit saying like, what would you have me share? Like the shift goes away from the being so centered on the body and seeing like the error on the body to just what can I extend? And then we start to relate more to the extension than we do the body, so that it just starts to fade out of awareness. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, and it what we were just saying there with the moment to moment thing, I feel like it's such a gentle way to heal. Actually, it takes away any kinds of feelings of overwhelm or this is a brick wall or anything like that, because it's just dropping in this moment and feeling where the yes is and then moving towards that. So grateful. Very grateful.
Okay, well, do you have
No.
Well, coming up next, we're going to have Access Miracles with Dan and Marie. That's coming up in a quarter of an hour's time. Okay, so see you then.
Strawberry Fields Forever Festival is just this welcome of those that have been called to this deep path to come together. And I always like it. We just seem to come in touch with people in such given ways and then invite them, and such a joy to meet them in the field. That's part of the fun of why we put this on. Take the time to put it on, because there's a welcoming. Welcome. And sometimes we hear their music, or we have interaction like with Maddie Z, or you and Ricky had a beautiful encounter with him, and it just warms the heart to think of some of the ones that are going to be coming and joining us there. Neda, Boa, and then these different ones that have been called and from our community. This is just such an opportunity to extend the gift that they have received and bless everyone and be blessed themselves. So it's really precious.
It is. It's like each of those musicians that you mentioned, they're all like deeply devoted to the course as their path as well. And just that, the devotion to the course, it's such a deep path of undoing the self-concept and being willing to let go of everything to serve, to serve Christ and serve the Spirit. And so that's part of what I feel so honored to invite them and have them come and share their gifts, because I know what they've gone through. Even to be able to receive the music, they've gone through a lot of letting go and clearing their mind and devotion to the mind training, and so to have them come and share their experiences. And for most of them, their songs have come as an effect of the miracle, or as a desire for the miracle. Like it's part of a prayer, like I need to feel your love, or help me release this, help me change my mind, guide me, show me, or then the effect of going into a mystical experience. And so the songs we're going to be blessed with at the whole festival are that. They're purely experiential, all about the awakening, from the awakening, for the awakening, and an invitation to be in it together. And it's not a performance, like you said. It's like none of us are going there to perform for an external audience. It's the intention is to be in the presence and allow that to bless us and everyone at the same time. And I feel that's what in some ways is probably different about this to most even concerts, where there's a real focus on the perfection of the form. And of course we're going to have incredibly high quality, because that supports the music. And we already have a team of volunteers, friends who are very specialized at working with sound, and so all of that's going to be there too. But at the end of the day, if the sound, if the electricity went out, you know, we would all have the exact same experience, with or without the form of it. You know, it's all about the presence and the fact that the Spirit wants it to happen, and it's the Spirit doing it all, and so nothing can actually stop that experience or interfere with it in any way.
Yeah, nothing can go wrong.
Right.
Really.
I'm coming to you from my cabin here at the Living Miracles Monastery. And I have this deep, like, heartfelt yearning for myself since I was very small that I just wanted to know what the truth was, what the truth of everything was. And I really found when I came here that I was available to be shown what the truth was. I became aware that what I'd been doing was distracting myself, and so there was no chance of me discovering what the truth was, because of my fear of being alone or being quiet or being still. And here, because the container is so pure, it was possible to drop in deep. It was possible to have this experience of discovering how loved I was. You know, there's a heldness in the mind. There's a container of the canyon. There's the beautiful nature outside, and you can hear the wind and the birds and the bunnies and all of the little things around here. It's like a St. Francis dream out in this canyon. And I really, for myself, I just wanted my heart to be able to open up and feel safe and contained and unafraid, because I think there's such a deep belief that there's deep, deep darkness there that's going to come up every time you're silent. And coming for a personal stay or even a silent week-long retreat, there's so much support for the mind. And that's wonderful. So this space and this place is just devoted to saying, take courage, come, sink in, discover you're loved, discover the beloved inside, discover all the inspiration that's going to support you for when you seem to step out of here and there are other calls upon your time. Nurture and renew. This is the water of life, and it's for everybody. Because no matter what tradition you come from, it's all about know thyself.
Okay, well, welcome back. So we'll cross over live now to Dan Marie with Access Miracles.
Thank you, Pete. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Access Miracles. I'm Marie.
And I'm Dan.
Yes, goodness, the nerves today. And our guest is Jason Warwick, one of our elders in the community, probably one of the quote-unquote oldest elders in the community. By that, I mean, really, he's been in the community a long time. Not that he needs any credibility, but I just wanted to put it in context for everyone. The show today, actually, our shows are always anchored on a specific miracle principle. And today's show is anchored on the third miracle principle. I think it's so fitting because it's a way to introduce Jason Warwick, who he is for me in this journey of awakening. The third miracle principle says, God, I'm going to lose it. Miracles occur naturally as expressions of love. The real miracle is the love that inspires them. In this sense, everything that comes from love is a miracle. Jason, for me, a recent miracle for me with Jason was that, well, let me start over. I was talking to a gentleman who came for one of our gatherings. His name is Howard. He's actually from New York. And we just happened to have a random joining as he was leaving La Casa de Milagros. And I found myself saying to him that one of the biggest things that's happening for me is this idea of hierarchy, about there's a better place or there's better groups of people that are more advanced, more awakened, more enlightened, more mind trained. I myself came from a path that was the Hindu path, which says that, you know, you practice celibacy and you do 1,000 mantras and then you'll awaken. Living miracles for me, I feel, is the most gentle reflection. Because in this path, in this community, we don't do anything that anybody out there in the world does. We do computer work, we clean toilets, we cook. Some of us are straight, some of us are not. Some of us are bisexual, some of us are married, some of us are in a relationship, and some of us are single. Some of us are smokers, some of us are not. I think what's really beautiful about that is that it allows everybody to see that there isn't any exception for where you are, because how we are in here is exactly how you are. You know, I did 20 years of training in the rituals of the Hindu faith and the light ceremony and all of these rituals that I felt was valuable in terms of my awakening. But in this community, there's no such thing as ritual. The only thing we really have here is just looking at our mind and seeing where we have some kind of judgment. And then we just get to practice forgiveness in our mind and say that what I see isn't what I see. If I don't feel love when I'm looking at what I'm looking at, it's just something that I need to take back in my mind and forgive. Some kind of feeling that I feel isn't me, but really is. So having said all that, when it says in this miracle principle, in this sense, everything that comes from love is a miracle. I recall last year for this fundraiser, Foundation for Inner Peace, and Jason was there too for that. And there was a lot of preparation that we had to do at the monastery because there were a lot of people that were going to come. And one of the people I was volunteering with, her name is Frances, we were down on the campground and there was a lot of physical labor that we were doing, but you know, it was still out of joy. At some point, she was expressing something about, because she was raised in the Mormon faith, and she was getting activated about all these things that were coming up in terms of hierarchy. And really, it was very painful in her heart, because what she was seeing with the elders, she felt like this was bringing up for her. I didn't say anything to her, because only thing I could feel was I felt sad, because I love Frances so much. And the fact that she felt this way about the elders, actually, because I knew that's not what it was, but I didn't know what to say. And my heart actually was like really aching that she felt that way, because I wanted her to experience the elders the way I experienced the elders. But I didn't say anything. And then a couple of days later, we were having lunch, and Jason stopped by. And he was updating everyone about what was going on. And Frances is always in the kitchen, you know. She loves that devotional service. And then at some point, it was asked, you know, who feels to wash and support Frances with the dishes? And immediately Jason raised up his hand and said, I feel that. Here was an elder, a male elder, who was in the kitchen washing dishes, wiping tables, and I completely lost it. I started crying. I actually sobbed on Jason's chest, because I said, he didn't even know. But that moment was such a gift for me, because I got to see that the prayer of my heart was that I could see Frances see that there's no such thing as a hierarchy. And for me, because Jason comes from that place of love all the time, he's like a walking miracle for me. And I remember a parable that Suzanne Sullivan shared when she first landed in community. And she was going through so much stuff as her self-concept was being undone. And Jason, because he felt the guidance, climbed up in the bunk bed with her. Like, I could see how for myself, if there was that kind of a guidance, how I would judge it, because I would think, oh, this could be seen as sexual or manipulation or something. But I feel like Jason is being done through so strongly and so clearly that he has none of those concerns anymore. And he just allows spirit to work through him without necessarily even, I imagine, knowing why for or what for. But his personal concern for how he's going to be viewed is not there anymore. And so he's done through in terms of how he does the movies for us. And the things that he says, but more than anything else, I mean, there isn't anything that he does that doesn't come across from love, so it's always a miracle, my experience of him. Washing dishes, climbing in a bunk bed. And I feel that in sharing that with all of you, you know, you get to experience that for yourself, and this is just a reflection of your mind, our mind. It's a form called Jason Warwick. Thank you, Jason.
A couple of days ago, I was thinking about what we would be doing, what we would be asking Jason. And I had an issue that kept coming up. When I left my home, my previous home in Sedona, about 9 months ago. It was the end of a long relationship with my ex-wife and my friends and so forth. And I thought, well, okay, this the call was so strong. I just knew it was time. It was just, there was no question. And so when I started living here in Mexico, there's a washing that occurs. There's an undoing. And part of that undoing for me was in my relationship with my ex-wife, and which had a lot of history. And so after the first several months, which was filled with a lot of joy and also some angst, it started this feeling of homesickness and all these things that occurred started to go away. But every so often, even 9 months later, there was a feeling of all of a sudden I would look at something and it would remind me of her, and I would get this nostalgic feeling, and I would cry. And so I mentioned this to Jason, and I said, "What is that? Why isn't this moving away?" I mean, it was a lot less. But what was that? And he had an answer for me, which I'm going to turn over to him to repeat, because it's about time he gets in on this. And but that was one thing. And then I have another question for him afterwards. So, Jason, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and enlighten our audience as well as myself.
Okay. Well, I forgot what I said. But I have something else, because you reminded me of the question right before the show. So while I was going to the washroom, I just said, anything you want to remind me of, Spirit. And what came through my mind was, you go to the doctor and like reflexes, they tap you in one place and it seems to have this tremendous control over one area of the body, or pressure points in Ayurvedic medicine. You can do one thing. And I remember we were just watching that movie, A Wrinkle in Time, and one of the key moments in the movie was where they said, embrace your faults. I think that's the wording they used. And really, the way I interpret that was everything where you feel a sense of sadness or something you don't like about yourself, or something where you don't feel supremely happy, it's just an inroads into the love that you are. And the movie showed that by the end, the ego just disappeared and the love revealed itself underneath. So when you feel that kind of intensity around Kathy or a deep emotion, I actually went to a presentation with Marianne Williamson a few years ago. First time I'd ever seen her on this big stage, and there's just something about her when she was speaking. It affected me, and I didn't really know why. I mean, she's obviously very passionate and articulate, and I knew that, there was just opportunities to look at deeper aspects of the Course. So when I went home, I just prayed, what is it you want me to see, Spirit? And I had this overwhelming emotion it just seemed like it went on for hours, and there was so much gratitude for her, but what was underneath it was so much pain. I resonated, quote, if you can use that term, with so much pain, because her speech was a lot about, like, she was launching her political, agenda or candidacy. And obviously with the Course, if you try to change anything in the world, seek not to change the world, change your mind about the world. But somehow experientially, I felt all this pain, and most of my life had been trying to save Albania, save the poor, save the world, save myself, all the self-help things, constantly trying to improve. It wasn't until I met David in the Course that I saw, wow, there's going to be a lot of undoing that has to happen. And with that, I just saw that anytime you try to fix or change anything in the form, you're actually covering over an intense amount of pain. And so to give ourselves permission not to try to fix anything, and for you in this case, when that emotion just comes up, just letting it letting it arise. Don't think that you did anything wrong. Because one thing you said to me is, if I could just maybe have a few more minutes with her, or go back and be with her, you know, maybe that would make it better. But you were married 48 years. And I said, I think you gave it a good shot. I think it's time to go for something deeper. So I think that was the essence of it.
It was. Nice job. And actually, there is, in that, there was a big release for me over the next couple of days. It's only been a couple of days since then. I have experienced what I would call a miracle, because that even if I allow my mind to go back to certain, what I would call like trigger points, that would be an emotional upset. I'm not feeling that anymore. And it's like, it was in that sharing, which has actually been the miraculous process that we've all been going through over at La Casa. Because when these things come up, and we're allowing that, and in fact we're then sharing it with whoever our link is, it's just the most amazing thing to me. There is a release and an undoing that is so powerful. So, yeah, I just, that was a miracle. And I'm glad I could share that. Boy, but this must be an emotional time, because we're both falling apart up here.
I'm really losing it. So I do have a question.
Yeah.
So Jason, I know you're very much into the movie. You do all our Movie Watchers Guide, and you're on Susan's show, Leap, which is all about the quantum experience. So I'm curious, what happens in your mind, or how do you see it if it's all quantum and what we observe, like, isn't really what's there, except what's showing up there is what's in our mind. So if there's a moment that you can see that somebody is going through some kind of darkness or hate projection or something like that, either towards you or towards something, as the observer of seeing something like that, do you even see that? What do you see when that thing is unfolding in front of you? Like, how is that interpreted in your mind? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, well, actually, Francis and I were just talking about this as part of our documentary, in a sense that, yeah, we really wanted to demystify what was going on with Awakening, what was going on with this community, and the documentary, for those of you that, well, I think everyone's going to get to see it. It really shows that when you're grounded in the truth and you're grounded in the spirit, in a sense of who you are, and you see that everything people bring to you is for you, it doesn't really affect you except to bring up gratitude. Wow, thank you for feeling safe enough to let that up and help the mind wake up to who it really is. So.
No judgment, of course. Yeah, just gratitude. I like that. Thank you.
I mean, I know what, like I was telling somebody the other day, the things I've said and exposed and been with my mighty companions and David and the other elders, it's yeah, the space that they held for me, you only want to give that away. So it's like, okay, well, they gave me 10 years, maybe I got to give. Sometimes I hope maybe a little less, but because people keep sharing everything over. There's a deep gratitude, but I do wonder. I don't know. That was a mixed message. You do want to give the gratitude over and over because that's what you've been given. But there's another thought in there somewhere. Maybe I'll
No, I feel that that's really been the experience for us, because you did that, quote unquote, ahead of us. And even having this thing called LM Virtual TV is that we get to share that and say, wherever you are, whatever's rising. Yeah, it's beautiful, because underneath that is the miracle, is the love.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's really, really quantum like that. So, yeah,
I think maybe the part I could add, because I just remembered, in the past few weeks, I was getting all of these emails and texts from people and different ones that live with me in the house that they were scared of me. And it was just the strangest thing. And I was like, what is that? Because, you know, this probably goes into your next question, actually. Maybe I'll let you ask your question first.
Hopefully you're right. My next question really had to do with something I think everyone has to figure out at some point. And that is when occurrences seem to happen that inform, that seem to be a message. Do you have any difficulty in discerning? Are they coming from Holy Spirit or are they coming from ego? And the reason I asked that is that I remember that at one point I asked if you could come to visit me in Sedona after I had met David, and it was about a year later, because I had some questions about how am I going to do this? And so you got it immediately onto your computer and you found a ticket. And so I said, yeah, well, I'll pay for that. And then a car, yeah, I'll pay for that. Come on up. And the whole ride on this was involved with the kid kicking your chair on the back of the airplane. And it was like very uncomfortable. And then you get there and they had given away the car and you called David and you said, are we supposed to do this? Is this okay? And David said, yeah, everything is fine. And I thought, wow, that wouldn't have been my first conclusion. And so, yeah, I was kind of curious to see if with all of this experience that you have now and your connection with your clarity and spirit, are those questions still relevant? Is that still something you need to join with the other elders and so forth?
Yeah. Well, we just watched a movie last night that we called Seek Not to Change the World. And the quote that struck me the most, and David even looked at me when he read it, was when you usurp the place or the throne of God, you have no choice but to perceive an enemy outside of yourself, and then you put on a shield to protect yourself against the fury that you feel is going to come unabated, something like that. It's not a direct quote, but and I feel like a kid kicking me in the back of the chair, or one time when I was in Europe, I just gave away, sometimes I'll pick an exit row or try to get a longer seat. And in Europe, I said, no, screw it, whatever comes to me, and then they're really tiny airlines and the knees have to be like this. And it's like, and then babies were screaming all around. And I was like, really? I give you control? And this is, this is what you give me? But he's like, you have no choice but now to go in. So I took the direction and went in and 45 minutes just disappeared on the plane ride. And there was no awareness of the knees or the body. And really to give up control, I feel, to that level where you don't know what it's going to take to bring you inside it's a sense of humbleness. And I don't think I'll ever say I'm not going to join with anybody, because as long as I perceive mighty companions or even people, then it's a call to join more deeply and see that everyone is myself and can help me on the journey. So that's one of the things I've never really got this resistance to completely joining with your brother, because for me, that's been the whole way out. If the Holy Spirit is everything and everywhere, and it's all one mind, then the idea of a personal Holy Spirit, me, Jason, listening to this Spirit right here in air somewhere, but not there, it doesn't make sense to me. It's all mind. So the Holy Spirit can use everything all the time. So you would do well to pay attention to everything.
Good answer. When I sat down here, Marie had already said earlier this morning that she was feeling really emotional about this expression that she was going to start this off with about you. And I sat down here and I thought, I looked around at everybody, and it's like, holy smokes, it is emotional, and it's a great opportunity. I mean, this entire venture,
I think
for us to be able to extend like this is just massive.
Now I'm sitting here and you're sharing that, Dan. I think it's really beautiful, because this whole idea of like what's in our mind right now, a lot of it is really this unworthiness. So am I really worthy of seeing this much love, this much unconditional love around me that says however you are is perfect, whatever you're going through is perfect, because we know what's underneath that. Because it's not about the body, it's not about what you've gone through per se, it's just that who you are is beyond that. Beyond your marriage or any other career or all the hateful thoughts and fear thoughts that I've gone through. Because look at my reflections. It's like the Grand Canyon. I mean, it's like, oh my God, it's the Grand Canyon of love. I mean, across from me is Savava and David and Emily and Susan and Jenny and Greg and Kristen and Mara and Peter and Jeffrey and Susanna and Soren and holy shit, and all of you. I mean, if that doesn't obliterate you, I don't know what will. So thank you. Thank you, everyone, really, for this kind of love, this experience.
There's something in the text of the Course that chapter 28 and the section 4, it's called the Greater Joining. And I was introduced to that again at the mystery school, which was an amazing experience. A real life changer. And so if any of you are curious, you might look that up, because it was the most beautiful explanation of the choice to follow is the one that frees you and everyone you love to follow the path back home. And it is powerful. So I just want to thank Jason God, and everyone here,
yes,
for this opportunity. And you got a couple minutes, Jason? You want to say anything?
Well, thank you. I mean, yeah, my hosts are very emotional. So.
Yeah. So thank everyone out there for joining with us, because we feel that this is all of us, and we're all extensions of one another, and we're all the one mind. And this is the greatest experience in the world.
The greatest love story there ever was or is. Yeah. This is it. This is divine providence.
It's
I
our
love
time.
you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Love you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Hi, Andrew.
He's driving.
Okay.
Thank you, Marie and Dan and Jason. I like that, the Grand Canyon of love. That struck me, tickled me a bit. I love what you're sharing too, Jason, about well, I have some gratitude coming up. It's like we use that phrase sometimes, like if I have something coming up, and I've never heard it phrased quite that way. It's really beautiful, because actually that's what's underneath anything that's ever coming up, or that's the Holy Spirit's, vision of it, view of it, is actually this is a miracle that this is now coming into my awareness, that it can be released, and then I can be so grateful for whatever reflection it is that's helping to purify my heart. So I just really loved that. I've never heard it quite that way before.
Okay. So,
Yeah, well, stay tuned. We're coming back in about just over 10 minutes, and we'll be back with Anne and Come Into the Light.
Everyone has their say. You can run, but you can hide. We're in this world, stand
It's funny, we were talking about language tonight. And this was brought in by, I was fascinated that I knew like the masters could understand everybody no matter what language they were speaking. And that if it was an infinite symphony, you could always understand each other, no matter whether you're speaking Chinese, right? If you were in the infinite symphony, because it's a symphony of harmony, it's a harmonious collaboration where everyone understands each other, we're all perfectly equal, right? So this is like the musical form of language disconnecting, time and space gone away, continental reconnection, no more split, no more race, right? Like bees love a swarming, feel the sound, you can't delay. At ease, it's all around you, it's in and out, at last release, at last released. Okay? So it's like that whole vibration of being released into the infinite symphony and not having to struggle to commune, right? Whether it's a language barrier, energy barrier, no barriers, right? You know, I was studying the music of the spheres at the time, and I was thinking of how the masters like Beethoven and all those cats, you know, what must they have been experiencing? I'm not a musician. You know, when I first started to hear it, I didn't know how to play guitar or sing or anything. I just taught myself everything. A lot of the times I don't have any idea what I'm playing. So, but I would contemplate these things, you know? So this is what it sounded like to me, right? Truth flows uninhibited, and all we are is love. You can never be disputed, no, you can never be alone. The act of love in this place, see this for yourself, 'cause only when you're seen this way can you offer real help.
unseen joy. So offer it to yourself, therefore, singing in silent harmony, ever expanding awareness into an infinite symphony.
To the unknown, above the battleground, where all is released and realized. This is the state for the living, not the dead. When all is forgiven, we transcend into the divine abyss of creation. Freedom and joy await our return. Deep within the mind, there is a place where the kingdom of heaven is known. Very still and quiet am I, watching, observing the never-changing reality of who I am. Welcome to the Tabula Rasa Mystery School, where you will awaken to what has never not been.
In this video, we're going to show you how to wake up with movies using MWGE. What we know about the mind is that it doesn't differentiate between the emotions it experiences while watching a movie and the emotions it experiences in day-to-day life. And that's how we're able to heal our mind with movies. You first want to pick a movie to watch that supports your spiritual awakening. You can do that using the Emotion Theme Index located under the Reviews drop-down menu. All of the movie reviews on MWGE are indexed by the emotions and main healing themes in the movie. At the top of the index page, we see the 8 main index categories of reviews. I have a block that I'm ready to remove from my life. I click on that category and I'm shown all of the block's topics. My issue is that I feel like a victim of the world and I'm ready to heal that belief. I click on victimization and I'm shown all of the reviews that have victimization as one of the healing topics covered in that movie. At this point, I'm able to browse through the movie reviews. I'm feeling a resonance with the movie Black Swan, so I first want to obtain the movie from a streaming video or DVD rental service. I also want to download the mind tools for use during the movie. I can find the mind tools under the Getting Started drop-down menu. When I'm ready to watch the movie, I'll read the review first. This helps me to stay focused on the movie's healing themes rather than getting lost in the storyline.
Attack it! Come on!
While watching Black Swan, I notice upsetting emotions come up when I see the main character Nina hurting herself. The upset is my cue to pause the movie and fill out a mind tool. If I can fill out a worksheet when I'm feeling the upset, I have a much better chance of getting it off the perceptual screen where I'm in reaction mode and back into my mind where I can look at what the upsetting emotions are, what the upsetting thoughts are, and what the underlying beliefs are. Beneath all that is the desire to have something different than it is. If I can get down to that place in my mind where I can see that I'm desiring something other than peace, then I can choose again. And the miracle is that I can call upon Spirit to help me make that choice for present peace. The Instrument for Peace is another downloadable worksheet that takes you step by step through the process of clearing upsetting emotions. It's especially helpful if you have difficulty or feel resistance moving through any level of the mind when taking an upset back. While filling out a worksheet, you may also uncover other limiting beliefs, so you'll want to fill out as many worksheets as necessary until you feel complete. The power of using these mind tools with the movie reviews on MWGE is that it saves time in the awakening process. Rather than playing out painful dramas in your life, you can simply let the characters on the screen do it for you. With all of the subscription plans, you get the written movie reviews and the mind tools. With the ProPop subscription, you also get audio and video setups with many of the movie reviews so that you can go even deeper into the healing themes. With the MasterPop subscription, you also get our library of streaming metaphysical movie classics with commentary, as well as hundreds of clips highlighting the key healing scenes in movies. If you're ready to add some fun to your spiritual practice, subscribe by going to mwge.org. MWGE is movie watching with a purpose.
I think for those that have chosen to take the route of physics or quantum physics, that is a passion. And for those that are using A Course in Miracles or Advaita Vedanta, some non-dualistic pathway back to spirit, back to remembrance of self, to remembrance of God, it's all very beautiful. It's just like a beautiful symphony. And yet this book kind of makes reference to A Course in Miracles, which I found in my life was a very helpful tool. It was like a trampoline. It was meant to be a springboard to a very glorious experience. The Course is not an end in itself, and it's not meant to be just ritualized and studied and studied and studied. There comes a point where there's a call for transfer of training and for know thyself and self-realization. And so it's the same for anyone taking a route through physics. You know, it would ultimately have to come into an experience of reality that's beyond theory, an actual peaceful, loving, joyful, happy experience. So really that's my wish for this book. If it can serve in any way and be a tool to help people come to that realization of self and understanding and experience of reality, then it has served its purpose very well, beyond anything I could imagine, actually.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Okay, so maybe you can go to the next screen. We're just checking out everybody on the screen here. We saw Mira.
We spotted you, Mira.
And your friend there. Hey, guys. That's so cool. So cool to see everyone here. All right. So now we're going to cross over to Anne, and she's got a special guest, Ken, on today. So this is Coming to the Light. take it away.
Thank you, Peter. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm just very anxious, so I just want to put that out there first so I can move past it and enjoy my time with my mighty companion, Ken Clifford. So welcome, Ken. It's beautiful to have you here. Ken and I are in service together at La Casa, and we've been there together for 5 months. And yeah, the focus of the show, as usual, is going to be around projects and service, and we're going to show a short clip of Ken actually being in the miracle of service. But before that, I just want to ask Ken a few questions. And the first one being, you know, like, how did you find Living Miracles? I'm really interested to know this because I know our paths have crossed, you know, like in England and through Jenny Donner and Greg, and yeah, but I don't know your story. So.
Sure. Yeah, so I was on the emailing list of Living Miracles, but nothing ever sort of came in, and I hardly actually read them, to be honest. Then this one day, I'm in bed, and my phone goes. I look at this email, and it's from Living Miracles. So I actually decide to read it, and I find out that it is about 40 miles away from my cousin's wedding, and it's like 3-hour drive from my house. So I'm like, oh my God, that's pretty close. And it said an intimate one-day gathering. And so I thought it was like people, there wouldn't be basically any space. And so normally I wouldn't ask to go for like half a day or something. I'd find that rude. Yeah. But for some unknown reason, I felt drawn to say, okay. So I sent out this message, and they got back to me straight away and said, yep, come for the half a day. Okay. So then they said, do you know where it is? And I was like, oh yeah, I know that area, even though I'd only been there a couple of times. So it just felt like Jesus had just sort of like parted the ways for me. So I just drove down on that day. It was just so easy. And as I got nearer to the place, I was like, oh, I know the parking's really terrible here, and I even know a place to park. So I've just like parked up the car, and then normally I have this fear of not being able to find places or whatever. But I was like totally relaxed, and I was like, oh yeah. And I literally just found the place straight away, found the house, and I knock on the door. And then Bridget, my friend Bridget Thomas.
Who I know very well as well.
Yeah, she undoes the door. And the first word she says to me, she says, I know who you are. We've been expecting you.
Oh, wow.
and we just had like this massive like hug. And I was like, wow, this is like really beautiful. And so we were all sat in the front room, and we were waiting, and I hadn't met Jenny yet. She was in meditation. And then she came down, and her and Greg, and they done, I don't know, about an hour and a half teaching. And it was just really beautiful, and I felt really relaxed and just really connected. And then we had some lunch, and Jenny comes over to me, and she's like, hey, how are you? And I'm like, we're like talking away. And I'd only been into the course for about 1.5 years. And I wanted to do a silent retreat, but I'd done like a lot of Buddhist ones, but I didn't want to do that anymore because of the teachings of the Course in Miracles was what resonated. So I've been putting it out there, been praying. So literally I'm having this conversation with Jenny. Oh, how did you get here? The normal stuff. And she goes, by the way, we've got a silent retreat coming up in Finland. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be on this retreat. So they told me all about it, and I was like, okay, this is great. And then I looked at it, and it just felt like it was like too much money. I couldn't afford it, but I knew that I was meant to be going. And so I was in contact with Jenny, and she said, yeah, I really feel you're coming. And I said, but I don't know where the money's coming from, because it was like, in my money, it was like £3,500 for all of the flights and everything. I'm thinking that's quite a lot for me, really. And this never ever happens. This final night, I'm just going to bed, and I say to Jesus, listen, if you're going to pull this one off, you better hurry up, because I need a miracle here, because I really want to go. Turned off the light. The next day, I had a really beautiful like meditation day. And I never ever do this. It's normally my mum and dad invite me to their house. But after this day of normally being in absolute peace, I'm like, I'm going to go and see my mum and dad. So I just drive around there, knock on the door. They're like, oh my God, what are you doing here? This is just like totally out of character. Sit down, have a cup of tea. I say, oh yeah. And normally I don't ever accept anything of them. I say, I don't want anything. It was like so much pride. And so they were really concerned that they wanted to give me this gift. But but it'd been going on for some time. Like, how do we do this? Because he's normally a bit funny with these sorts of things. So I'm just like sat there, and then my dad comes walking in the room, and he goes, "Here, I've given this to your sister. This is for you." Wow. And I goes, "Whoa!" Like that. So then I undo it, and it's a check for £3,500. And I just go, oh my God, like that. And they're like, wow. they're like expecting me to be all my normal, I don't need anything from you, all this business. I'm like, oh my God. They're like, is there something you want to do? And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like that. They don't know anything about the Course in Miracles or miracles or anything. I'm like, this is so great. They went, we thought you'd be really annoyed that we'd even asked you. I was like, this is so great. Thank you so much. So it was so beautiful for them that I was able to receive this gift. But of course, the kind of ego afterwards kicked in and said, you could save that money. And I was like, no. And I had to, here you go, Jenny. Take it, please, before I change my mind. And yeah, that was the change on that retreat. I handed over my life to God, and that was the end of it. It was over.
So you came in to live in miracles. Your life was over. Don't complain.
Like, yeah, I'm done with this silly life.
Yeah. So I know I met you on a retreat in England.
That's right.
Yeah.
Holston Court.
Holston Court, that's right. Yeah, another silent retreat. And I know now there's myself, there's you, and Sue Powell, actually, all living at La Casa together that were there. Right. Yeah. So how long after that Finland retreat did you?
I think it took about 4 months because I had a business, so I had to run that down. I had a rented house, so I had to get rid of that and just get rid of everything. And then that was it. But it was very easy. It wasn't hard.
And talking of easy, like coming into Living Miracles and being in function, how was that for you? What sort of blocks were there that you had to overcome? We've talked a little bit about this, so I kind of know some of it.
Well, for me, throughout all of my life, I've been sacked quite a few times from jobs. I don't like being told what to do. And so coming into community was like, I believed that I didn't like being around people for too long. I needed my own space, and I hated being told what to do. So I thought, okay, this is the perfect place to go to wash all this away. And so I think it was really, the ego was getting in there. It's like, yeah, just be told what to do, and that will like wash this away. But of course, the resentment and everything was just still there. For 7 months, it was just sort of like me just being told what to do. And not really, I didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest. I was like trying to forgive all the time. Just like, I forgive that. Nothing seems to be happening. I'm not feeling happier, just the normal sort of like, yeah, I'm feeling good today, but not the true happiness of God.
Did the expression sessions help with
that?
Yeah,
really, really helped. Let up a lot. I had a lot of anger, and I cleared a massive amount in the beginning, which kind of, because I thought everybody would reject me because I felt really, really angry. And so I thought it's not acceptable. And I got more love from expressing it all. And so I felt really safe just to be able to say everything that was on my mind. And that was really, really helpful. But yet this major thing was, I don't know where it come from, but no one tells me what to do. I basically had that. And that's why I set up my own business. So I wouldn't have to deal with any of that.
Okay, yeah. I know that, the expression sessions and listening to you actually talking through your anger has been so helpful for me to get in touch with a lot of those emotions in, can I say, a more adult way rather than jumping up and down and screaming. It's been really helpful. But I know that you went through something through being involved in the maintenance team that really brought a change about for you. So and that's what the video's about. We're going to show that after you've just spoken us into it, really, Ken.
Yeah, like I've done like building work most of my life because I felt so unworthy to do anything else. And so I would just take these crappy jobs. And so then I became a psychotherapist and sort of like seemingly redeemed myself. And then it was like, you're going to be doing maintenance. And it was like, this is so beneath me. But there was so much like unworthiness, like I'm going to be shown to be useless at this. So it was just bringing up a lot of stuff in the beginning. And there was a lot of resistance to even taking on the task to actually allow it to be washed. It was quite funny, actually. I was on the bus one day. I think I was ordering up an Apple computer. I was traveling along to IE, and I was on the bus, and I was with Jesus, and I said to him, why did you give me this maintenance area? I said, because I don't want to do it. So you seem to be giving me everything that I don't want to do. What have I done wrong? And his words were, well, you asked for it. And I was like, oh, yeah. Then I'd forgotten about, say, 4 months earlier. I was like, I really feel I need to wash this. Okay. So he was reminding me, you asked for it. I was like, okay, fair enough. I'll stop blaming you.
So
yeah, it was really, really difficult. And it was exactly, I played out exactly the same thing. Is it got to the point where literally I could not lift another nail, I could not see another hammer. I was like, I am done. I'm absolutely done with this. I am not going to do it anymore. If you want me to leave the community, I will. I don't care. I am not doing it. So firm, because it was just, it was horrible. And I felt like I was letting down Dan. I was letting down Craig. They were like, no, you're not. This is good. Like, I'm glad you're expressing. So I said straight away, no, you don't have to do the maintenance. So then, of course, I felt like I'd let everybody down. Like, oh, we need him to do it. And of course, that's not how it is. But that's what sent me into the deeper prayer. Because then I just thought, this is just the pattern of life. This is what I've always done. Get to the point. I'm not doing it. See you later.
And that's the time where you normally leave.
That's I'll just leave. Yeah, they'd either get rid of me or I'd get rid of them. One of them, either way. It was just on the cards. It was just a matter of who was going to get there first, so to speak. So it's just that whole pattern again of like, you know, it's not others, it's you. That's what my dad used to say to me. It's you. You're the one that's got the problem, not everyone else. And I was like, well, he's probably actually right here. And so I had to really pray and think, listen, I'm just wasting everybody's time here. If I'm going to be acting out the same stuff over and over again, I want this done. I want to be happy. That's the reason why I've come here.
Yeah, like a willingness to be wrong about the whole thing.
Exactly. So I gave myself a month. I said, right, listen, if you're going to turn all this around, or I'm going to turn it around, or whatever it is that I need to do, I've got a month. Otherwise, I'm leaving. Because in a way, then it was like, if I wasted my own time, it was like, so what? But to feel like there were others that I was wasting their time, and I've been given this opportunity to be in Living Miracles and to really heal my mind, and I felt like I wasn't given everything, then it was like, right, okay, you've got a month now to sort this out. And yeah. He provided.
And did you share that with anybody at the time?
I think the only person I said was Anna.
With Anna.
Yeah, I said to her, I'm being deadly serious, a month and it's all over for me.
So I don't know what to do here. Show the video now or ask it? Yeah, I think I'll show the video now, because that's the before and this is the after. And you can talk a little bit about it then. Okay, Nicholas, if you'd like to show the video, that'd be great.
All this stuff, I just stopping the mind from doing its thing, because you're in the function and there's nowhere for it to go, and you just want to go on to the next thing, and you're just totally in that service and that joy. So now all of the thoughts that I used to have about all those things are totally and utterly gone, and they're not even in the way. They're not even there anymore. So it's just like such a beautiful gift, and I just want to serve in any way that I can. You know, it's like right now I'd be like, if you want a cup of tea, I'll go and make you a cup of tea. Like, it just feels like I can't stop being in that given. But from the first place, It was just like, it was all about me as an individual and what am I going to get from this place. And now all of a sudden it's like, wow, what can I give? And that was my prayer deep inside.
Yeah.
Teach me how to give, because I do not know how to do that. I really do not know how to do that. I don't even understand what you are asking of me. I know that I can't do that. And slowly, through whatever, the miracle, that it just seems like a tiny mad idea that my mind just changed, and then you're in total service to everything and everyone. And then you can start to feel everything, because you just feel it, because you just want to be together. You just want to be in it, like, come on, let's all sleep together, come on, let's make dinner together. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter what you're doing, because the joy can come out. And that's the beautiful thing, that it doesn't actually matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter at all. But as long as you feel together in it, oh my God, the possibilities are endless. And this is what we've got here.
Yeah.
Hallelujah and praise the Lord.
So beautiful, Ken. Absolutely. And Jason's here in the studio and he managed to capture that on camera. Beautiful. Yeah, so yeah, your mind changed, the miracle happened. So I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that.
Yeah,
how that came about.
Yeah, I forgot all about that. Yeah, because it was the prayer and giving, because I'd felt so selfish in my life that really my whole life was all about me. I thought that's what life was all about. It's like, it's just about me. It's just about what I can get, what I want to do, when I want to do it, and I'm not going to compromise in that. And then coming into this and reading the Course in Miracles, it's all about giving, and I just didn't understand it. It was just like alien to me. It was all about getting. So for so long, it was just, please show me what this is. This seemed like a real big key in my mind. In actual fact, he says that in the Course. He says to learn actually how to give is a big turning point in your mind.
Yeah, giving and receiving are the same. That's what's coming through. And yeah, the lesson as well, lesson 66, my happiness and my function are one. Yeah, so that really comes through in this video.
Because the other thing is it was really about accepting what was given, and that's what I wasn't doing. I wasn't accepting what was given. And then once I finally started to accept everything, through that month of saying, listen, you've got to accept what's given to you, really, and really take it on. And then that's when something happened.
Yeah, that's it. That's kind of what we're coming into, isn't it? You know, that whatever our functions are, you know, whether it's cleaning or it's doing a show or something else, it's like we're coming to learn that it's all the same. It's all for our happiness. And yeah, but we have to go through that process of, I don't want to do this. Why am I cleaning again? Or why am I doing maintenance or whatever it might be? And yeah, so that's beautiful, you know, that we can come to that through function. Yeah. And I'm aware that you've got another new assignment, project, function, whatever way you want to call it, a relationship in the world, actually, you know, that's come in with Anna, who you mentioned earlier. So I'd just like to ask you how that came about, how you got to know Anna. And I know that when I came to the community 5 months ago, you seemed to always be together, you know, like in function or one thing or another. So
yeah, it was like funny because like wherever we went, we were just, the spirit was just constantly bringing us together, whether it was in the kitchen, we'd just be constantly like walking past each other or something. And she came to a retreat in the beginning, and then she stayed on for like 10 days, I think. And then she decided to come, and she'd kind of like message me. And so it was like she felt like comfortable around me. And so she was just kind of like coming towards me. But we didn't see anything in it. This has like been going on for like 8 months now, 9 months probably. And it was just our paths were like crossing. I didn't want a relationship. I'm not really into them, I've got to be honest. Not in the way of the world, like it doesn't really interest me. However, it was like becoming more and more obvious that there was a lot of healing. And I always feared that I have a lot of projections and a lot of judgments, and I know that they're in my mind, but it always felt like to me that nothing is ever good enough, that no matter what anyone can do, it's never, ever good enough. And I felt horrible that I'm going to be putting this on to another, and that's why I decided that I didn't want to do it. But of course, this is what it's all about. And so really, that's all we're doing, is we're bringing the darkness to the light. And so being very, very honest. So it's actually been very, very healing that she's been very, very open for me to actually share. I've probably told her absolutely everything that I actually think. Yeah. And she just doesn't, she doesn't mind. Yeah. Yeah. She says, I know it's not you. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think you had a little bit of help along the way, didn't you? You know, around this relationship.
Yeah, there's been a lot of help. It's like, you and Anna. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah, there was a lot of sort of like coming together. We did have a period where it was just expressing, and that was like helpful. Like, okay, you two just express. And then that's when I just said, okay, listen, if you can handle this, then I'm just going to tell you everything. So I did. So we kind of like had that. And then the time when it came in, we all had a community meeting, and I was sitting there and I was like really praying, and I knew something deep was happening. And these words came to me, and it was, show me the wisdom for my greater good. They just came to me. The wisdom isn't even a word that I normally use. It just came, show me the wisdom of my greatest good. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool. So I kept saying that over and over again. And then during the sharing, Lisa says to me, yeah, what's going on with you and Anna? And I'm like, what do you mean? And so I was still not. And then after the meeting, literally the same again. Anna comes walking around the corner. I come walking around the corner. And I'm just like, remember my prayer and just thinking, okay, maybe I have to actually commit to something. But of course, it's not committing to another body. It's committing to the mind, committing to the Holy Spirit, to go deeper into that. So once I'd finally let go of, I don't want a special relationship. I'm not interested in joining with somebody. I'm interested in joining in the mind. That once I could open up to that, and I could see the prayer was answered, that this is for my greater good. So that's when, I committed, basically.
Beautiful. Okay. So that's all my questions, and we've still got about 5 minutes. So
that's kind of funny, because that's also, it's funny even like sharing all this, because this is something that I would not share. I don't normally share about relationships. There's something like I just wouldn't share. I just wouldn't say it to anybody. So it's kind of funny that I'm even doing this live now. Yeah. So, okay, do it live. Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
Just to wash it all away.
Yeah, because I know I mentioned it to you, you know, when we chatted, we had like about half an hour talk. And that's all we've done around this show together. And it was just perfect, just that half an hour. But it came in quite naturally to ask you, you know, like about the relationship. And I know you had a little bit of resistance then. It was like, oh, I don't know. But it just felt, I don't know, it feels really natural that you're talking about it. And I know that you mentioned something about it's not like a relationship in the world. So I don't know if you want to expand on that, how it does actually feel and what's different, you know.
It's just in total purpose. There's nothing else like going on. It's like there's just this mirror there that wants to be totally open to God, to the Holy Spirit, and everything is welcome in that. So there's no need to, I don't have to please her. She doesn't have to please me. Of course, all these things come in, but really they're just like the superficial stuff that you believe in a relationship. Oh, I've got to be a good boy to get what I want, and those sorts of things. And really that sort of like feels like a lot of that is out of the way. Of course, it gets acted out in certain ways, but because it's so purposeful, that really, it feels really good.
I know that, you know, like we have a lunchtime expression sessions and I've never known this before, so it's really interesting to watch it. But, you know, like anybody that's in relationship is talking about the relationship, you know, like in depth, and it's really beautiful. It's really beautiful to see that, you know, like, and that openness that you've got. you know, to whatever's coming in, and it's all in purpose. And
yeah, well, it's taken a lot of courage, I've got to be honest.
Absolutely.
Because it was so funny, because it was like, yeah, you've got to share in the group. And it's like, oh my God. But yeah, it actually feels good just to keep letting it all go. Like there's nothing really going on. But the ego just wants to hide these little stones, like, oh, you don't have to say that, or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it just feels really good. And I guess what I find with it, which is kind of amazing, is these things that are stuck in my mind where I think, oh God, this is terrible, I think this, or whatever, that each time I express, it just lights me up more. So it just feels so like worth it.
Yeah.
I just feel lighter in my mind each time. So that's
and it's
incentive.
like, yeah, all the ego thoughts, it's like, it's not that none of us haven't felt them, or, you know, so it's all in the mind anyway. It's like, okay, thank you for saying that, because it was in my mind too. So it's always really helpful for the whole. And so thanks for doing it for us.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Okay. Yeah, we've still got a couple of minutes. So I don't know if there's anything else that you feel to add. I think I've dried up for questions. But I do feel, I'm just so grateful that you're here, and that we're able to walk this journey together. It's just been incredible these last 5 months. Lots of ups and downs. We've upset one another at times, and we've expressed it all. And
yeah, that's the beautiful thing, isn't it? When we all know that we're truly in that purpose, and you see that it's not personal, and you can just let it up and let it go, knowing that it is for all of us truly, is such a gift. I remember I said to Lisa once when we were doing expression sessions, and when someone else expresses, it's always for me. And then you feel the release from that, and you think, oh my God, this is amazing. How would I have got to that place in my mind, wherever that was buried? And now I'm being released from it. So I named it, this is the lazy man's guide to enlightenment. You can sit back and just be released without even have to do anything. So that's the beauty of being in community. You can sit back and enjoy the ride.
I think it takes a little bit more than that. You've got to be a bit willing.
Yeah, you have to be willing, of course. Yeah. Oh yeah, you have to be willing. But you wouldn't be here if you weren't willing, so
Exactly. Yeah. Totally. Okay. Oh, I just feel so grateful, and I need to give you a hug.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me on.
It's been wonderful. Okay, thank you everybody. Thanks for joining us. It's been amazing. Bye for now. Lots of love, lots of happy smiley faces, which is incredible.
Thanks guys. Thanks Ken. Thanks man.
Oh, that was rich. That was wonderful. Thank you for all of your sharing.
Yeah, I love that. Love what you were sharing, Ken, just about like that transcending what I personally think that I need, and coming into like what really serves the whole. It seems to be such a foreign concept of like, why do I want to do that again? What serves the whole? We've been talking about that recently. But yeah, just coming into that kind of feeling of like, oh, that's how I transcend the personal, is when my mind starts to go into what serves the whole. It's like, oh, I start to relate more to the whole. That's so cool. Well, you can introduce the next show.
Beautiful, yeah. So we've got a concert coming up for you next. The Song of Prayer with Emily, and she's going to be joined by Svava and Susanna. So stay tuned.
It's so far beyond the personal. And yet, while you believe in the personal and you're opening your heart to this vast love, the words and the symbols can reach your heart in helpful ways. There's really nothing but just beautiful, pure simplicity that's always just what is. The truth is simple. The present moment is simple. While you still have connotations and meaning and interpretations around it, then words like scarcity and lack and funds and so on and so forth, it's really being in the gratitude so fully that everything else just fades from awareness. A lot of times people think of spirituality or spiritual journey as like, be happy, and you can't consistently be happy until you get in touch with what's unhappy.
Can you tell me what it is you feel is helpful about this doorway for those coming to it? It's wide open. What do you feel is helpful for them?
Yeah, well, this doorway, it seems to be hidden to the everyday perceptions of the world, the linear perceptions. So it's almost like an esoteric doorway into mysticism, and it can be quite disturbing to the ego. So I would say don't be alarmed as you come close to this doorway, because the ego may have some reactions. But it's a very gracious doorway. It's God's love and grace coming into awareness. And there still seems to be steps to take. The mind is very addicted to linear time, and so it has to come in a form of steps. But each step leads happily on to the next step and the next. And with each step inward that you take through this doorway or through this portal or gateway, every step gets lighter and lighter, and you become less aware of the elements of time and space. So in order to come into experience of God's grace, you have to meet the conditions of grace. You can't bring judgments through the portal. You can't bring these attachments of the past into the portal. You have to leave them at the door. And so in that sense, it's a very light journey as you enter into the portal. You get lighter and lighter because you're not carrying the weight of past thoughts and beliefs and perceptions.
I'm so grateful for the monastery here. It's been such an amazingly deep, profound and healing place for me, and I've seen the transformation in so many people that have come here. You know, there's like this solid foundation here that I feel it really helps us get in touch with who we truly are. And in coming to that, of course, anything that is not that is going to be flushed up. The great thing is here that the reverence and the purpose is so pure that it's safe, you know. It's very safe to allow anything that isn't love to be allowed up in forgiveness. And so I'm very grateful for the monastery. I'm just so grateful to be able to share about it right now, actually, because it's got a very special place in my heart. It's a very devoted place. Maybe I'll see you sometime here. Okay, much love.
Okay.
Welcome back, everyone.
Hi. Yeah, we've got a special treat. We've got Emily, Svava, and Susanna here to perform.
Serenade us with the song of prayer.
So across to them now.
Oh. Welcome, everyone. Oh, so beautiful to see you all there. Yeah, Svava, Susanna, and myself just felt so inspired to just sing for my show today. And yeah, it's been really beautiful over the last few weeks. We've been coming together nearly every day to sing. And it's just been such a joyful experience. It's like, yeah, I was just, it just came to my mind this morning that it's so obvious when a relationship is given by the Holy Spirit, because there's so much joy in it. And yeah, and it's really not about the music or the singing, but it's like this connection that we're feeling in mind. And then the effect of that are these songs that are coming through. And we've had a few experiences where we've come together as well, and it's felt maybe like there's a block or something's feeling flat. And every time it's actually because we just need to join and connect. And if we try and lead with the music, it doesn't work. So it's really been this backdrop for coming closer together and feeling the safety that any one of us in the moment, if there's something that feels like it's on our heart and is just blocking us, that we're able to share it in a really safe space. And it's like once that happens, it's like this joy comes in, and we're in this beautiful dance with singing. And yeah, even this morning, we just came together about an hour ago before the show, and it was feeling like, yes, something wasn't gelling. So we just prayed together, and then Susanna actually shared that she made a prayer this morning. And maybe you'd like to share it with everyone, because just when she shared it with us, our hearts just lit up, and we felt so connected, and we were just all in all of this joy.
Yeah, so we had a movie gathering last night, and David mentioned this quote that says, "I cannot but be at the right place at the right time." And I really felt like that was a really deep one for me. Like, it basically takes out that there is a possibility that something should have been different, could have been different, that there's mistakes, that anything can be wrong. It's like it takes out everything there. And I just had that in my mind this morning, that's what I want my experience to be. Like, if I do a wrong chord, if I hit it wrong or something, it's like I don't want to look back or second guess myself. I want to just trust that everything is perfect. And I felt like that was my prayer today. And I picked one of those Course in Miracles cards, and it said, "Trust would settle every problem now." And I feel like that's what I want to keep in my heart.
Mm-hmm. And after she shared that and we started singing Rooftops, which I think is going to be the song that we open with. My eyes just went directly to the lines, knowing that your perfect grace has brought me to this place. And I thought it was just like really fitting with Susanna's prayer. And then it was in the song and we were singing it together. So I don't know if you have anything to share, Svava, or you just still just sing today.
Yeah, I'm just grateful for this opportunity to just extend and share the love and sing. And it's been really, answer to a prayer for a long time. So thank you for inviting us on your show.
Feels great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we can start with our first song, Rooftops.
Here I am before you, falling in love and seeking your truth, knowing that your perfect grace has brought me to this place.
Because of you I freely live. My life to you, oh God, I give. So I stand before you, God. I lift my voice 'cause you set me free. So I shout out your name. From the rooftops I proclaim that I am yours. I am yours. All the good you've done for me, I lift up my hands for all to see. You're the only one who brings me to my knees, to share this love across the earth, the beauty of your holy word. So I kneel before you, God. I lift my hands 'cause you set me free. So I shout out your name. From the rooftops I proclaim that I am yours. I am yours. All that I am, I place into your loving hands, and I am yours. I am yours. Here I am, I stand with arms wide open to the one, the Son, the everlasting God, the everlasting God. Here I am, I stand with arms wide open to the one, the Son, the everlasting God, the everlasting God. So I shout out your name. From the rooftops I proclaim that I am yours. I am yours. All that I am, I place into your loving hands, and I am yours. I am yours.
Yeah, it's been a new experience for me coming together to sing in this way with Sva and Susanna, because what feels really vibrant for us is having these harmonies in the songs. And like my old way of doing harmonies is, you know, I work it out on the piano, like there's like a lot of efforting in it and figuring out. And at the beginning I tried to do that, and I was like working on my own, trying to get the harmony. So when we came together, they would work, and it was feeling so hard and so heavy. But the experience that I've been coming into now is that just when we join, I just have to go for it with them. It's like just in the moment. It's like I have to risk like the notes sounding like all over the place, but there's something like really vibrant and fresh in that, and it takes out, you know, trying to work it out or figure it out. It's just like this present moment given by the Spirit. If this song is given by the Spirit, if harmonies are given by the Spirit, it will just come in as we're in the joy and as we're singing. So that's been, a new experience for me, and feels like I want that to transfer over to everything. So
yeah, to just trust. And it's so funny because you get so excited when it happens. You're like, oh, I have to record it, let's do it again. Yeah, it's just so much fun. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful.
Well, maybe we could sing the I Will Follow You.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe you want to introduce this, Sava?
This is a song that came to me, in January when these online retreats started. I went to Camas and and a lot of songs just started coming to me in the middle of the night. I was just waking up with a song in my mind and running to the bathroom, not trying to wake anyone up, and whispering and recording it on my phone. And yeah, so this is a song that came to me when I was sitting on the toilet. In the middle of the night, I remember. Yeah. Okay. And it's called I Will Follow You. Yeah.
I can hear you calling out my name. I can hear you saying I was not to blame, that none of it was true. I will follow you till the end of time. I will follow you. I will follow you to the end of time. To the end of time. I will follow you. Follow you. I will follow you. Follow you to the end of time. To the end of time. I can hear you saying it was just a game, just a false picture in a polished frame. I let myself fall, 'cause beyond it all is the end of time. I will follow you. Follow you. I will follow you. Follow you to the end of time. To the end of time. I will follow you. Follow you. I will follow you. Follow you to the end of time. To the end of time. To the end of time. Time collapses for all our release. I'll give you all my worries in this moment of peace. I can hear you calling out my name. I can hear you saying I was not to blame, that none of it was true. I will follow you till the end of time. I will follow you. I will follow you to the end of time. To the end of time. I will follow you. Follow you. I will follow you. Follow you to the end of time. To the end of time. I will follow you to the end of time.
Yeah, I feel like sharing something. Because yeah, before I came to the community, I was not doing music or anything, and suddenly all these songs started coming, but I've been having so much judgments about the songs and my lyrics and everything, and just yeah, it's been a lot of healing, letting go of things to be in a certain way and being perfect, and yeah, judging my simple songs and simple lyrics, and yeah, all these thoughts. It's been such a huge healing for me to just let it all go and just let it come through, and just yeah. And I started to connecting with that this is not Svava's songs, that is like spirit songs coming through. And when I was going in that direction, thinking it was mine, personal, then I was judging everything and letting it totally go. And it's such a freedom in it. Just these are songs that are given. These are songs given from spirit. So, and I'm so grateful, and just singing in front of people and speaking, and it's just so far away what I did before in my life. So yeah, I was totally hiding in my apartment, not singing, not doing anything of this. So it's just such a huge gift for me. I'm just so grateful. Yeah, it's just an honor to have these songs come through and be able to sing, and yeah, it's just so wonderful, so beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Pete.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I feel like actually all three of us had a prayer to sing more, and like Susanna said, I think a few weeks ago, I just really want to sing, and she was playing the guitar quite a bit, but she wasn't singing. And then when we came together, it was like, we were even saying to her yesterday, like when she sings with us, it feels so beautiful. It's like there's a whole other element to it, and I can just feel it. It's like, I don't know, like my heart just opens when I hear her singing with us. And yeah, I think that there's a strength that we're actually finding together, the three of us, that we haven't been able to find on our own. And I think that's what feels like really deep about it, and why it just feels like so powerful when we come together. It's like the spirit's there. So.
Yeah.
Are we going to be able to sing another song? We're all emotional.
Yeah, I'm okay. I can sing, I think.
Well, I heard 10,000 Reasons in my mind. So
yeah.
How does that feel?
That's a happy song.
Yeah. It's like sometimes I send Status like song suggestions of what we can sing, and she writes back, "It's a really sad song. Can we do a happier song?" So I'm like, it's good joining with Stava, because a lot of my songs that I want to sing are very melancholy.
Okay.
And actually, we prayed for a happy song, and then 1 minute later, this came in. So.
Yeah. It was right after a breakdown.
Yeah.
It's good. Okay. It's called 10,000 Reasons.
Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship his holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul. I'll worship your holy name. The sun comes up, it's a new day dawning. It's time to sing your song again. Whatever may pass and whatever lies before me, let me be singing when the evening comes. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, worship his holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul, I'll worship your holy name. You're rich in love and you have no anger. Your name is great and your heart is kind. For all your goodness I will keep on singing. 10,000 reasons for my heart to find. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship his holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul, I'll worship your holy name. On that day when my strength is failing, the end draws near and my time has come. Still my soul will sing your praise unending. 10,000 years and then forevermore. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship his holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul, I'll worship your holy name. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul, worship his holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul, I worship your holy name. I will worship your holy name. I will worship your holy name.
Okay, I think we have time for 2 more songs.
Yeah.
I'm getting the 8-minute mark, so maybe goes to you. Or I surrender. Which goes to you or I surrender? Goes to you.
Okay, the next song we're going to sing is called Close to You, and there's also a song that came to me, in January.
Not on the toilet.
No, not on the toilet. Okay.
I would do anything to touch the sky. I would do anything to learn to fly. You are my goal, oh, what I am longing for. I am yours, forever yours. You are my goal, you're all I'm aiming for. You are my only goal, my purpose, my want, yours. Trusting in you is all I want to do. My trust is in you. I'm longing to be close to you, close to you, close to you, close to you. Longing to be close to you, close to you. on my knees and I pray to be in your arms, and you are holding me. I feel your love, oh, it's all I am longing for. I am yours, forever yours. You are my goal, you're all I'm aiming for. You are my only goal, my purpose, my one choice. Trusting in you is all I want to do. My trust is in you. I'm longing to be close to you, close to you, ooh, close to you, close to you, ooh, longing to be close to you. All that I give to me. All that I give will set me free. Take my hand and take my life. Show me the way to paradise. I would do anything to touch the sky. I would do anything to learn to fly. You are my goal, oh, what I am longing for. I am yours, forever yours. You are my goal, you're all I'm aiming for. You are my only goal, my purpose, my one choice. Trusting in you is all I want to do. My trust is in you. I'm longing to be close to you, close to you, ooh, close to you, close to you, ooh, longing to be close to you, close to you, ooh, close to you, close to you, ooh, longing to be close to you, close to you.
Patrick's clapping. Love you, Patrick. Well, I overestimated our time. We don't have time for another song, but yeah. Yeah, thank you. Feels really beautiful. Yeah, just grateful for this opportunity to extend and to share this with you all, and Miss Fava and Susanna. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Love you. Love you all. Thank you.
It was gorgeous. Yeah, we had the guys come and play at La Casa de Milagros last Wednesday, and also Emily took us through an experiential session where we all got to do some music warm-up exercises and just be together, just letting any noises come out. It just feels like such a joy, like singing together. Such a different experience. I think every time the guys play together, everybody's singing afterwards. So we're just in that vibe. So yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, it was sweet. I saw the mic stands and stuff start coming on and automatically start humming. You know, like you just know that there's a joyful noise coming. And yeah, I just feel to mention too, in August, there's an experiential workshop for voice liberation. It's called Heart Song. I'm sure you've heard Emily speak about it. And I think there's a video coming up to tell you a bit more. But look, it's just really powerful sitting here in the studio with it all happening. And you can really just feel that they're all, like, you can feel the joining and the strength in it and just the harmony. It's so beautiful. So thank you.
I think it's where it's all headed. It's going to turn into one big musical, I think.
We can only hope.
That's the happy dream. Okay, well, coming up next, we have the last step with Jeffrey, and that's coming up in a quarter of an hour. So join us then.
For as long as I shall live, I will testify to love, be the witness in the silences when words are not enough. With every breath I take, I will give thanks to God above. For as long as I shall live, I will testify to love.
The biggest block for really allowing your voice to come out is trying to sound good and trying to sing. So when I sing now, and when I lead groups or I do one-on-one singing sessions with people, I really try as much as I can to get them to step out of the idea that they need to sound good or they need to perform, and actually get in touch with something that's deeper.
The best thing in this exercise is to not delay, because when you don't even know the cushion's coming towards you, you see it coming towards you and you hear a note, as much as you can just sing the note without any thought process, because I can tell you that thoughts are what blocks the voice coming out. So we want to minimize any thinking. We want to just keep
in the choir. I will refer to that a lot, where I just ask people to whether it's to close their eyes or just to really get in touch with the sound that wants to come out, and let that feeling lead the way, as opposed to any kind of judgment on how anything sounds. So when we're singing as a group together, if everybody can even just tune into the one sound that's being created by the whole group singing together, it takes the focus off the personal self that, is trying to do it. Actually singing it's like a metaphor even for A Course in Miracles, because the Course is a pathway in letting go of the blocks to love's awareness. Love is not something that we are taught or that we learn. It's who we are, and there's all of these blocks and beliefs that are in the way. So the path of the Course is to see all of those blocks and let them go, so we can get in touch with who we truly are. And I see the voice as being the same thing. We're all born with this natural voice. Everybody has a voice. So it's not about learning to sing. It's a process of unlearning. It's letting go of all the ways we try and control the voice, everything we try to do to create the sound, fully letting go of that, and then letting this pure sound just flow through. And there's really nothing that we need to do in that. It's something that just happens by itself. Yeah, that's the kind of feeling we're going for in everything that we're singing, just this really, really intimate sound. Whether it's a really upbeat piece and it's loud and we're dancing, or whether it's like a very prayerful song, it's like you still want to have that intimate, connected feeling throughout. I feel like something else is doing it. The spirit is doing it. It's kind of, I don't have to work anything out. I hear a thought, or I feel an energy, or something is just happening, and I'm just allowing it to move through, and it is so joyful. And the experience is that at the end of it, I'm more energized. It doesn't take anything from me. It just gives to me over and over. So that's not just in music and in singing. That's how I live my life, and I feel like everybody in this community lives their life, or at least we're practicing to live in that way. And singing is just a great way for me to practice.
As long as I shall live, I will testify to love, be the witness in the silences when words are not enough.
This is about when this came. Literally was surfing inspired and about dropping into the quiet. So that the pit, you know, when the thing is just, when you're in the pit and it's just quiet and you're actually in the now completely and almost out of body, right? And how difficult it can be to calm down to get into that place. And surfing helped me a lot with that, you know, as far as rinsing out the energies and just being able to get still and in the now and in the present. Surfing is you have to be present, or the wave is running everything and you're just finding the balance point on the wave, right? You're not the wave, that's very clear, right? So your job is to be at the right place on God's movement. So if you're not quiet within, you know, you're not going to find that, and then you get pitched over the falls, you eat it, you know. So that's where this came in one day, because I was remembering that. I haven't played in so long, but I'll remember it. It will come back. Dropping in, relieved, bottom turning, in elation.
All is revealed in the quiet. Come on in. You don't have to pay for the quiet. There is no sin. But you can find yourself in the quiet. In fact, all there is the quiet, the unrelenting bliss. God is the love in which I forgive myself. God is the love, God is the love, God is the love in which I forgive.
Really excited to share about the Heart Song Voice Liberation Workshop that we're going to be doing together this August in Utah. It's going to be directly after the Strawberry Fields Music and Enlightenment Festival that we're actually both going to be singing in as well. And we're going to have this beautiful 3-day workshop directly after that, where we're just going to really be going deeper into how to use the voice as a way to connect with the spirit. It's actually not really about singing, it's a portal into opening up to something beyond that. So to start with, I just wanted to hand it over to Netta, because she has just recently come back from San Francisco, where she was singing at the ACIM conference there. And I think many of you were probably at that conference and met her and got to hear her beautiful voice and her beautiful songs just pouring through from the spirit.
One of those songs was the song that I shared in the conference, God is the love in which I forgive myself. It's a beautiful song, but like the first time that I had to professionally record it in the studio, my whole voice and everything just blocked. Like I just literally couldn't sing it. I couldn't come past the first chorus. Like, it was terrible. My whole voice is cramped up, and I just felt like I can't sing this. How can I mean this? God is the love in which I forgive myself. Like, my whole ego, like all of these guilty thoughts came up. Like, I'm not good enough to be forgiven. I'm supposed to be punished. And there was so much stuff that I had to go through first before I could actually really sing that with so much ease. And at a conference, it was the first time that I actually shared that song live. And
wow,
so easy. Like, the song just flowed through me. Like, it was like I didn't have to do anything. I was just watching myself, and that was so healing for me as well, to share it with everybody. And like, so much people were crying, and they would come up to me like all crying and hugging me. And yeah, that was just for me that reflection of being so much more of service for everybody that I was singing it for, that they could feel that in their heart. So yeah, everybody is welcome. If you have experience with singing or not at all, like, it's really not about singing. It's more like, most of the times I don't even call it singing, but like sounding, you know, because it's just, you're using your voice to uncover everything inside of you that is ready to be heard. It's a really beautiful way to just shine light upon whatever wants to be seen in this moment. And when you have a witness to that as well, when you sound that, when you sing that, and there's a witness that is open for your voice and is open to hear that, then that is so healing.
It's like we all have this light, this burning light that wants to come through, and it can come through in so many ways. But I feel like the voice is one way that we can really like let that light shine. Just take off all the parameters, take off all of the control and constrictions we put on, saying, you know, this is what I want to share. And
the thing that I always feel with music, and what a lot of people in the conference also told me, what is so beautiful, is that sometimes you can feel, you'll hear students say like, oh, I don't feel it, like I don't have the experience. Like, they'll come to workshops or they come to talks and they receive it in their heads. But there's something about music, and there's something about also expressing yourself through sound that brings you straight from the mind to the heart and to the experience. And that is what's so amazing, that it really invites you to feel and to step into experience rather than into thinking about it. Or so that's something very, very beautiful and helpful, I think.
We wanted it to be an intimate group. So at this point, you know, there are going to be a number of us at the workshop. There's going to be Netta and myself, Jason Warwick, Kirsten Buxton, Ricky Como are all going to be collaborating. And also David Hoffmeister is going to be there, and he's going to do some sessions. So it's going to be an amazing few days. But with regards to actually exploring the voice and using this as a way to really deeply connect with the spirit, Netta and I are going to be facilitating those sessions. So we wanted to keep the group small enough that we could really, everybody could feel very safe. You know, everybody could feel like they could give themselves permission to open up. So at this point, we're going to just have 30 participants coming to the workshop, and we've actually already had quite a few sign-ups, which is very exciting. So it's going to be very safe and very intimate.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Netta. Yeah, and yeah, just a huge warm invitation to all of you, and yeah, hope to see some of you in August.
God is the love, God is the love, God is the love, in which I forgive.
Okay, everyone. Well, welcome back. The last show of the day is The Last Step with Jeffrey, and joined again by Frank. So over to you guys.
Hello. Welcome to The Last Step, the last show on Sunday. Happy to have Frank here again.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. Up till today's show, I've had, you know, this is whatever, my 5th show. And I've had this anticipation before, and like sometimes it would happen a half hour, 15 minutes. And today, like, it wasn't there at all. And I went into the bathroom and I was just like getting ready. And that line from the course, you know, anticipation plays no part at all, for present confidence leads the way. And it's like, it's this confidence, but it's not in my own power. It's like this confidence that the words will come through. And it's funny, then I sat down with Frank and I said, hey, well, this is the stuff that was coming to me. And he's like, well, I heard we shouldn't read so much. And I was like, all right, well, I heard the opposite. So I had someone say, oh, I like it when you read from the book and make some comparisons. So not sure how it'll go today, but I actually had, yeah, it's funny. I actually wrote over, and we had this idea of last week when Andy and Nicholas shared. I was like really touched about, and I shared this with my wife Susanna a lot, that my practice in the morning and at night is from the big book of AA, and it's pages 84 through 88. And the way it lays out the discipline of the mind, really what it is, it's mind watching and asking for guidance. So it's essentially talking about what guidance and how you practically follow guidance. And when I heard their show, I'm like, oh, maybe I should share that. And, you know, I actually rewrote those pages a bit to take out the words like alcohol and certain things so that it could really reach more people. And it's no coincidence that when I met Frank, it was amazing. We had this instant connection, and it was funny. We're starting to work on an intro for our show. And we went down to Ahihique, and we're like, it was really cool. We're like, like Jason came down to film us, and it felt like, I mean, this is probably beyond all of you guys. I mean, maybe a few of you remember Tom Hanks's first show, which was Bosom Buddies. And they had that intro where they were like going around. That's what it felt like with us, like walking down by the water. But it was like, it was really cool just to, I haven't finished it yet. So that'll be for next week, hopefully with a song. Yeah. But yeah, it was we went to another meeting actually, Frank and I and another friend of ours, and it was actually a great meeting. It was that the topic they came up with was, how do you stay in the now? And it's like, well, that's essentially what step 11 is. And that's actually, you know, what you've always talked about was your favorite step, or what you focus on.
Yeah, I think it's the most important step, because I feel I'm really at a advantage, you know, in the course and in this community, having gone through AA, because you really, you know, in the beginning, you really have to let it out. You have to be honest. If you don't, then you just don't make it, you know. So 34 years ago, it was pounded into me, you know, just let it out. And, you know, to me, the steps are really, it's a very deep teaching, and you know, it's really all there, but it doesn't go into the depths that the lessons go, you know, of the course. But the structure is the same. You know, you just you know, step 4 is made an inventory, and then, you know, you read it to another human being and God, you know, and that was, you know, I have to say, I probably, most of the stuff, you know, that was really weighing on me, it came out then. Here, you know, I just go much deeper into being authentic. And I had to be, you know, we went to this meeting on Thursday, and the topic was now. And I started feeling very uncomfortable. I said, you know, now I'm in the course, I'm in this community. And am I really in the now? You know, I had to, and I wasn't. You know, I was thinking, okay, what am I going to say when it's my turn to share? You know, and all this stuff, because my mind is very active. And really bringing myself into the now is some of the deepest work I can do. And what I use often is just, you know, before I go in, is to be here. And I use my senses. Say, you know, you know, what are the sounds? You know, what are the smells? What does the temperature feel like on my skin? And then I realized, you know, this is the only place I need to be. There's no other place to be but here. And with the busy mind of the alcoholic, you know, there's always somewhere else I think I need to be. And that's really essential to get to that point. And then I can go in. But but I can't go in without being here, you know, and I have to say, I struggle with that still, but we have you know, we have the tools, and there's very simple tools. Another thing is I learned to observe my mind, you know, and become the observer. And then I'm learning more and more, but the observer is the Christ, you know, and anything else that's there is just is my mind playing out some scenarios. And that's a huge step for me. It became very clear to me yesterday with the movie again, you know, that it's all a scenario. You know, I really get so much out of the movies, you know, and I have to say this movie watcher guide and all this, I really can't recommend that enough because it takes you so deep and it's fun. You know, it's not studying anymore. Before I used to study all my teachings. And I thought that, you know, the form of meditation I had, and it worked. I mean, it was contemplative meditation. So I would read something. I wouldn't study it in a academic way, but I would read something and then I would put the book down and really let what I read, you know, sink wherever it needs to go. And I still do this with the lessons, and the lessons actually instruct to do that. So, you know, a lot of people when I bring up the 11th step, which is we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God, praying only for His will for us and the power to carry that out. So that's so absolute. There's no room for Frank anymore. And I don't want room for Frank anymore. I want Frank to be replaced by the Christ, you know, which is really my true identity. But often, you know, that gets pushed into the background again by the ego. And then I think I need to do all these things. And here I'm learning, although we do a lot of things here, but because there's a lot of functions we have, but we do it, but it's not about these things, you know, it's about these relationships we have, and things come up, and then we talk, you know, we let them out, we talk about it, we air them, and then we can offer them to God. And this is really also the bones of the you know, the 12 steps. And often when I go to meetings and I talk about the 11th step and my experience, people come to me and they say, wow, you know, not many people talk like you. And then they ask me, can I call you? And I say, yeah. And I give them books. Sometimes I start them off on Eckhart Tolle's Power of Now, because I don't want to hit them with a course right away. And we have a tradition that says, you know, what is it? Can you?
Tradition we
you know, we're not affiliated with any religion, you know, and so we have, you know, we have to be subtle with this stuff. And then I ask Spirit, okay, I have a story, actually. It's about Kenny. I see him there on the screen. And, you know, I was in New Mexico for Christmas. And I was, you know, so my mantra is always in the morning, you know, what do you want me to do today? Where do you want me to go? Who do you want me to talk to? What do you want me to say? And so Kenny came to pick me up with an Uber, but I didn't know him. So I walked to his car and I say this mantra. And then I get in the car and I see that he had a little NA sign. So say, hey, we're in the same club, you know. But I also was asking Spirit, should I stay in Santa Fe or should I go back with my girlfriend and my daughter on whatever date? And so I see this, and so I said, oh yeah, what club? I said, well, the NA. So, and I told him that I've been part of starting NA in France in '84. And so he said, come to my meeting. So I went to the meeting and I shared, and 3 people came to me and said, can you share at my meeting too? So there was the answer, you know, I'm staying in Santa Fe. for another week or however long. And this is how my life is. What do you want me to do? And then, I'm learning more and more. Don't make any plans. So I thought, when should I mention this to Kenny? I mentioned the power now, and so the second meeting I went to speak, there was a guy, he talked about, and it's the first time in a meeting I hear somebody talk about the Course. He talked about Marianne Williamson's book, Return to Love, and then he said, but she comes from this thing, and it's a big book like that, so this wasn't going to happen for me. And on the way back, in the car, I said to Kenny, that book is what she was talking about. I mean, there was my cue. That book she was talking about, that's the Course. 3 days later, Kenny was with me at a ACIM meeting in Santa Fe. Now he's watching this. He's already done the online retreat, and he's coming for the retreat. So, this is, it's all orchestrated, and I'm just there. And like David said, just show up, show up, and and then these miracles happen. But I just ask, when is the right time? And sometimes I don't mention it yet, and so this was a beautiful story. I'm so happy, and every Sunday I see Kenny's face up there. So it's really cool. But it's that guidance that comes, and I'm only there for this. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? What do you want me to say? And knowledge for His will for us, and the power to carry that out. There's a lot of fear that I had of God, and I see that in AA a lot, because there's all this unworthiness, and a lot of people believe in an outside God, and then when I speak, say, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in a God. And I said, I'm with you. I don't either. There is no God out there watching us, and it's here. It's right here. It's inside. I have to go in. And that's where I found God. And if I don't go in, I never experience that love. And if I don't experience that love, I don't know that I can trust, because step 3 asks me, hand my will and my life over to the care of God. If it's a punishing guy up there in the sky, I don't want to do this. It said, it says, there's, and we read it at every meeting, there's one that has all power. And that's such a powerful thing. And then it says the word, that one is God. May you find Him now. This is, wow, there it is. But the way I heard it in the beginning is, there's one that has all power. That one is God. And I thought, good for him. I hope he likes me. So I'm going to be good. And I got so angry and depressed because I was trying to be good. And trying to be good is like holding a spring down. It's like, and then so boom, it comes up and you go into a major binge of bad behavior. And you might as well try to control drinking or using. It's the same thing. I can't control it. I don't have to do anything. I just have to show up. I just have to show up, and I have to expose. I have to expose myself and just hand that over. In step 10, in step 6 and 7, it says, it talks, I don't like the word. It talks about our character defects, and I really don't like this word, but so that's what it says. We look at them, and then we ask God to remove them. And then myself, and I bet a big percentage of 12-step members, try to fight them. You say, okay, now I do this, and I got to stop it. And it doesn't work. But it doesn't say that in the book. It doesn't say, now you have to behave. Don't do this anymore. It doesn't say that. It just says, okay, eventually you come to step 11, and then you connect and you heal. That's what it is. You heal, because you connect with God. And we have to do it. And every time I go to meetings and I talk about it, there's a big part of the room that responds, yeah, I know I should meditate, but I don't. And, people with 20 years or so, how can I ever get to trust that you know, God, which for me is the inner Christ, that is total love and cares about nothing but love, you know, and it's peace. And if I don't feel that, how am I going to hand anything over to that power if I don't trust it? And I only can trust it if I know it. So that step is so essential. And in those moments of meditation and observation and, you know, my lessons and the teachings and being surrounded by this community, I realize it's all thoughts, whatever happens. You know, yesterday, when David was speaking at the film, I looked at him and I said, he's not even there. You know, he's just in my mind. But he said, you know, he's an angel in my mind. And then I look at everybody's, you know, and then I look at the things that I'm afraid of. They're not there either. But I must have come a long way to manifest this, to have these angels in my mind, because it's all in my mind. And what I need to do is heal my mind, and the healing of the mind is in the meditation, but it's also in the interaction with this community, or, you know, my brother, like it says in the course text and lesson, you know, I need my brother to atone. I never knew why, you know, and now I know, because I need to expose, and then, you know, you'd say something gets on my nerves, and then I have to expose that, and then, you know, stuff comes up. So the no people pleasing rule brings up so much stuff, you know, and that's the cleansing. And then it comes, like even before, you know, I was meditating down there before I came up, and then I realized, you know, there was a strong feeling in me that this was about me, you know, this now, and I just exposed it. And I said, you know, it's not about me, but I still think it's about me. So I don't have to you know, try to bombard it with some what we call spiritual ghosting. You know, I have to just say, you know, I still think it's about me, and then I give that to God, and I say, just do whatever you want with this. But you know, and so some of the things also I'm finding out is some of these things that I still do, even that the Spirit uses, you know, my talents and my, you know, the Spirit can use anything. It doesn't rip me out of this and say, you know, you got to be perfect right now, or totally enlightened. So everything is okay. Everything is okay, and I can expose it. And to me, that's all part of that. It's a big part of the connection, which you know, the healing, where the 11th step is a big part of that, but also this exposure all the time is that's where it is. And then suddenly, you know, miracles happen. Miracles, like even just thoughts, like the thought I just explained that I had at the movie yesterday, you know, that's a miracle for me. It just doesn't exist out there. It's only in my mind. And that's where I need to heal it. And I don't even have to worry about how to heal it now, because I'm here and it's happening. And that is the big, that was one of the big lessons for me this week, that I realized, you know, a lot of the awakening, I thought I have to make it happen. And I don't, you know. And so I hope I went all over the place. I don't know if I stayed with step 11, but I hope that was okay.
No wonder I wasn't anxious for the show. I don't have to do anything, literally. It's funny because you talk about it, and it's like, it's so dear to my heart, that step too. But how do we come into that trust? And it's like literally taking these steps of when we hear guidance, you know, it's that listen and follow. And there's a line in the paragraph on 84 that says, you know, what do I do in the morning? And I asked to be divorced from these thoughts, from self-pity, dishonesty, and self-seeking motives. And I did that from the beginning. I actually started people off on this really early. When I would bring them through the book, I would start them on that, because it's never too soon to start praying. And you may not hear the answers as clearly until you've done a fourth and a fifth step and done your amends, because you're cleaning out all that wreckage. And then you start hearing more clearly, because the guilt is lessened and you're moving through, you know, layers. But that part, you know, when I actually pray every morning, and I still do it, the same thing, please, every day, because I have the same, you know, patterns. They say in Alcoholics Anonymous, our anthem is me, 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 me. So we have to actually get away from that self-thought all the time, because that's where the mind wants to go. But with that, you know, what does it look like? Divorce my thoughts from self-pity, dishonest motives. During the day, it's not taken away. There's another part that says we ask God at once to remove these character defects or whatever. They're not removed at once. We ask at once, and then they're removed to the willingness we're ready to let go of them, is what happens. And with that, it's like, for me, I started to notice, you know, because all that is, those pages as well, is mind watching. And I'm watching where they actually crop up. And you mentioned people pleasing. That's actually dishonesty. And when I started to see that, it was like, oh, I'm actually not lining up what I feel and what I'm doing. I'm being dishonest. And I could see even thoughts that would come in my mind, whether they're self-pity thoughts or, you know, self-seeking thoughts or building my ego. I could see a thought come in, and at the beginning, I would see it come, and then it would come out of my mouth, and I'd be saying it before I was like, oh, there it goes. It's like you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. But I could actually see that this was a pattern, that I was saying these things, whether it was a victim thought. And here, sometimes one will come out, but then it's immediate. Oh, I think that's coming from the victim place or whatever it is. But for the most part, the more we do this, the more we can see the thoughts, and then they just sail by. And it's like, oh, okay, I don't have to believe any of it anymore, you know, and that's what you're talking about with this, you know, letting go of what it all we think it means in our mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. We were at the meeting, and it was funny, this guy, I had shared with a friend that, hey, you know, find someone and go get a phone number, and, you know, someone listen to their share and go get their phone number, and maybe you can connect with them after. And this is what I did with all my sponsees, and my sponsor did with me. And part of what he taught me was, don't ask people to do something that you don't do, you know, demonstration. I was like, okay. So there was a guy that had a beautiful share there, and he was actually talking about observing the thoughts and all this, and he was meditating the whole meeting. And I was like, all right. So I went up and I said, hey, you know, what's your number? I'd like to, you know, have a connection down here, because I'd been to a few meetings, but I don't, you know, I have a community here. So it was like this idea. And I asked him for his number. He's like, oh, yeah. He goes, if you want, I can teach you to meditate. And at first I was like, I smiled. I was like, okay. So of course that thought came, like, is this guy, you know? And I actually, it happened quickly, but it's like doing the Spiri process in my mind. I had to let go of this desire for respect, or this belief that, you know, I'm seen in a certain way because I wanted, you know, be understood. And it's quicker now that I can let go of it. It was like, okay, yeah, maybe we can do that. I come with, you know, my friend Frank and another friend, and maybe we can, oh yeah, that'd be great. We can meet before the meeting. And then, you know, Frank has shared with me that he runs, like, even at these big conventions, big meditations in this. And sure enough, I go to him and I say, this guy wants to meditate with us. Frank's like, oh, that's great. Let's do it. I was like, all right, what a great reflection. Like, it was so beautiful. I was like, okay, I can trust this, you know? And it's the same thing like your story with Kenny. It's like, when you get those prompts, when you get, oh, I'm invited to 3 meetings, and then that's the trust. You follow that guidance, and you see that the reflections come back, and you actually see that, oh my God, I can trust this. I can trust this voice that I'm hearing. And some of the stuff I added into those pages was actually like, it's beautiful the way it's written. Maybe another show will go over the book, but there's a part where I always join. That's what we do here, is ask them, you know, someone, hey, I'm hearing this. What do you hear? And then when it's, because the biggest fear, and this happened with sponsors, I would always not ask them something because I was afraid they wouldn't give me the answer that I wanted. So we would call it answer shopping. We'd have 3 different sponsors, and then we'd ask the one that we would know give us the right answer. But here it's like, we're only hearing one voice, and it's only hearing what the guidance is. So, you know, that's what we kind of do.
Yeah, I've done a lot of answer shopping. And then, you know, I got the answer I wanted, and then I got really resentful to the guy who gave it to me because it didn't turn out well. You know? Yeah, it was humbling for me too. That meeting about being in the now, and I think one of the things, in AA, when people come to me and they tell me, "Oh, where can you work with me?" and then I give them, as I said, the power of now, but I tell them, you have to promise me one thing, otherwise I don't give you a book. You have to keep doing the steps, and you have to do this, because the ego will take something like that and thinks, now I know more than these people. I don't need them anymore. And there was a moment when, about 5 years ago, when I started to, study and read Joel Goldsmith, that I felt I don't need to go to meetings anymore. And there was a clear message there. You have something to give. You go to meetings, and I went. And when you said and since I live all over the map, I have many groups that I go to. And there's one group in France where whenever I'm there, they give me 10 minutes to do the meditation. And, so every group I go to, I'm guided, and I have a function. And, and this has been my biggest gift. And I was going to not go anymore because I thought, now I know a little too much. I know, I don't need to go to AA anymore. But I don't, I go for me. I don't go to AA because I'm dying to have a drink. I go to extend, but I go for me because in extending, I heal myself. So I love this, and I always get the right words to say. And sometimes, did that just come out of my mouth? Sometimes words that I don't even use in my daily language. That, okay, I should have recorded that because that was very deep.
Well, that's against the traditions.
That is. So actually, we're not allowed to do this.
We don't record.
Yeah. So that, that's what it's. I'm just the mouth. I'm being used to say words, and that's my prayer. What do you want me to say? So I hope I did that well just now.
That's beautiful. It's actually the one right use of the body is communication. So we're on the right track.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's been another edition of The Last Step.
So next week we're going to have music playing now.
Yes.
Maybe I'll even tell the story. You've heard it. You've heard it.
I've heard it about 8 times.
Okay. How I came to the song that we're going to play.
Yeah. So we'll have that for next week. We'll see what else we get into. So I think that's all for today. I see John out there, John Wetzel. I see Patrick. Ken, nice to meet you officially.
Kenny, yeah, we'll meet him in,
Oh, is that Netta?
in a month.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Netta. Oh, and I think
Kelly.
there's a Dolores out there too, but she doesn't have her camera on. And Mira. And Kelly. Thank you guys. We'll see you when we see you.
It's always a lot of fun.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you, Jeffrey, and thank you, Frank. And thank you all for joining us. I feel pretty blank, actually.
I feel pretty blank. Let's get a wide cam. Oh, okay. As wide as we can.
Yeah.
Come on in, everybody.
There's a whole lot happening in the studio today. They're coming out of the woodwork. Okay. Oh, wait to me.
Wow, start singing around songs. The casa, there's a whole there.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah.
And there's cameras.
My mother's there, but you can't see her. Anna Carol's there. Andrzej's there.
Hi. Oh, Mira is there.
Yeah.
Tell you were anything less than beautiful. How could anyone ever tell you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your lying is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.